Chapter 1003. When the thick, bloody light that covered the entire region dissipated, all the cultivators in the city of the Great Tao felt cold all over. Outside the city, there were only the prehistoric Big Brother and the other two. There were no other people in other places. They didn't know how many people Chiu Ming's protector had killed when he went crazy. The entire city of the Great Tao was dead silent. Everyone didn't even dare to breathe loudly. They were all dumbfounded. The scene in front of them was unbelievable. The powerful figure was killed. In the end, someone shouted with a trembling voice, causing a huge commotion that spread throughout the entire Great Tao city. All the cultivators in the city roared in shock. A powerful cultivator had been killed, and in less than half an incense stick's worth of time, a powerful cultivator had died. This terrifying event made all the experts tremble. The sagely battle god and the others felt their scalps go numb. It was as if they had fallen into an ice cave. This lunatic. Some people's limbs went soft. Previously, they coveted the immortal Tao substance that Su Yin had and wanted to steal it secretly. In the end, they were wrong from the very beginning. Su Yin had come to the city of the Great Path ostentatiously to trick them. Whether it was the confrontation on the Great Path battle platform or the subsequent series of events, it was he who had exposed his identity. This made them all tremble. This was too cruel. From the start, Su Yin already had the power to kill powerful figures. Su Xianren is too cruel. All this time, I thought that Su Yin was too ostentatious and got himself into trouble. Who would have thought that even a powerful figure would be killed? I think from the start, Su Xianren wanted to kill powerful figures and not some small fries. The whole place was in an uproar. A giant of the sealed heaven domain had fallen. This was a bloody reality. Su Yin had killed a powerful figure. This was a huge event that would shake the entire universe. Another peerless almighty has been born in the burial region. Some of the ancestral hall masters had gloomy expressions. Although they hadn't planned on participating in this matter from the very beginning, as old rivals of Su Yin, they were well aware that since Su Yin dared to take the initiative to reveal his tracks and swagger through the city, he definitely didn't have any good intentions. Now, the truth was clear, but the people of the ancestral palace didn't rejoice. Instead, they felt a chill in their hearts. If the Zhongyu clan gave birth to two almighty experts, this matter would be very serious and frightening. In the future, it would be extremely difficult to annihilate the Zhongyu clan. In the city of the Great Path, discussions were everywhere. Some people were even wondering who else would dare to come here to court death. Perhaps in the near future, there would even be a bloody battle between the top almighties. After all, the sealing heaven region had suffered such a great loss. How could they just let it go? Once the supreme cultivators came, it would definitely be a bloody battle to the death. Who knew how many people would die? Perhaps the Great Tao City would be destroyed in their bloody battle. Too strong. In the Great Path auction house, King Kampa and the others were breathing heavily. They didn't think that the prehistoric Big Brother would be so terrifying. Although they knew their Big Brother was strong, they definitely didn't think that he could crush an almighty expert to death. Even now, the prehistoric Big Brother seemed to be fine. Was this a bloody battle? It clearly wasn't. When some people paid attention to Su Yin, their faces immediately darkened. However, when it came to Su Xianren, they could only suck in a breath of cold air. Everyone wanted to know what he was going to do next. Pretending to leave the city, swaggering and waiting for the heroes to come. When they thought of this, many of the younger generation's experts smiled bitterly. This was too ruthless. He had killed so many people. Even an almighty expert had been blown apart. If this matter spread out, how many tribes would dare to provoke him in the future? Now, Su Yin was searching all over the world. There were still some array platforms that he couldn't take away in time. These 81 array platforms were the strongest foundation of the Han family. Without one, their power would be greatly reduced. Although the array platforms were damaged, Su Yin was, after all, proficient in the secret techniques of the Strange Gate. In the future, when his cultivation reached a higher level, he could completely repair the 81 array platforms. This array can be said to have perfectly displayed the super strong ability of the Strange Gates Array Dao Domain. Even if the damaged array platforms are placed properly, it might be able to kill the Divine King. Even a half-step almighty expert might not be able to withstand it. This was the Han family's strongest killing array. It was also the painstaking effort of the Han family's ancestor, an 8th grade great-grandmaster. When the array was formed, it gathered the power of heaven and earth to suppress strong enemies. Even almighty expert could resist it. How could the value of such a killing array be measured by money? Even if the array was damaged to a certain extent, if it was really put up for auction, its value would not be less than 1,000,000 pounds of primordial chaos material. Of course, Su Yin wouldn't sell this item. He would wait for it to be repaired. This was a killing array that even a half-step almighty expert's face would turn green when they saw it. Su Yin spent some time to find all the array platforms. After doing all this, he didn't stop. He used his heavenly eye to scan the surrounding space, looking for a supreme treasure gourd lost in the mountains and rivers. It's here. Bamboo Moon's eyes bloomed with divine light. Her clothes fluttered in the wind, and her steps were light and agile. She came to a patch of grass and found a blood-colored gourd. Su Yin hurried over. Su Yin attached great importance to the blood-colored gourd. When the red-robed old man took out this treasure, he shouted, "Treasure, please turn around," and directly killed 3 divine king experts. The value of this item was extremely shocking. Although it wasn't a great Dao sacred weapon, it was still extremely powerful if it was turned into a killing weapon. The blood-colored gourd looked ordinary. Su Yin measured it for a while and tried to drive it with energy. However, it was like a stone sinking into the sea. There was no movement at all. "Treasure, please turn around," Su Yin shouted at the blood-colored gourd. This item was very calm, just like an ordinary item. There was no power surging out. Su Yin was stunned. How could this item be used? Only then could it produce such an effect. It was a pity that the red-robed old man had died in the chaos. Moreover, this supreme treasure gourd had only erupted with divine power once. The old man had thrown the gourd away before he died. He didn't want to leave it for the enemy before he died. Now, Su Yin had benefited from it. However, he didn't know how to use it at all. Could it be that this item required a special spell? "I'll study it after I'm done." Su Yin solemnly put away the blood-colored gourd. He felt that this item might have the power to chop off the head of a half-step almighty. If he had the chance, he would ask the prehistoric big brother to find out the secret technique to control this item. Su Yin, the sealed heaven region's almighty has fallen. Their race won't let this matter rest. Bamboo Moon's eyes had a trace of worry. She whispered, "This race is extremely mysterious and astonishing. They have an unfathomable foundation. You can't be careless." Hearing this, Su Yin nodded slightly. Bamboo Moon told him not to go too far. The Life Forbidden Zone had been able to look down on the world for a long time. They must have had an invincible foundation. If they really pushed the sealed heaven region to the edge and released their strongest foundation, who knew what would happen? Just now, the prehistoric Big Brother Tyrant Rupture had made a move and blasted an almighty expert through. This had already shocked the world. This would play a crucial role for the Buried Realm race. In the future, other races would target the Buried Realm race. However, they had to consider the serious consequences of provoking 2 peerless almighties. Su Yin had achieved his goal. "I'm afraid someone doesn't want us to leave." Su Yin sneered inwardly. If the sealed heaven region continues to send people, they can't blame us. Even if they want to fight with their lives on the line, now is not the time. Oof. Unfortunately, that brat Xiaoming ran away. Otherwise, I would have used the Han family's strongest killing formation to trap Xiaoming. Su Yin felt a little regretful. Then, he and Bamboo Moon went to the prehistoric Big Brother's side. He was tall, and his hair was messy. To the prehistoric Big Brother, it was as if the previous battle had never happened. When the world could threaten the prehistoric Big Brother's mentality. "Big Brother, let's go," Su Yin said. Hearing that, the prehistoric Big Brother tilted his head slightly, his eyes landing on a distant world, a space that was calm and tranquil. Su Yin was stunned. Could there be someone spying on them in the dark? The Almighties had been killed. Who would dare to stay here and look for trouble? In that space, a shadow was faintly discernible, like a brand in the void. With the strength of the sky bamboo Almighties, if he wanted to hide, even the old antiques of the Taoist temple would have a hard time discovering his existence. Of course, the prehistoric Big Brother was an exception. When the sky bamboo Almighties arrived, he had already noticed. The prehistoric Big Brother's gaze was calm, but when it fell on the sky bamboo Almighties, he still felt a great pressure and a threat to his life. He had the mentality of facing the abyss and the infinite universe. So powerful. The sky bamboo Almighties took a deep breath. He stood in the void and bowed to the prehistoric Big Brother. He sent a voice transmission. "Brother, I'm the elder of the girl beside you. I came here with no ill intentions. I'm here to apologize." The prehistoric Big Brother retracted his gaze and looked forward. Su Yin was hesitant, but he did not ask. He led the prehistoric Big Brother on his way. The sky bamboo Almighties hidden in the space had his spine bent. It was as if a mountain was pressing down on him. He ignored him and did not respond. The sky bamboo Almighties were not angry. The other party did indeed have the bearing to look down on him. "Brother, my clan's 5-colored war flag." The sky bamboo Almighties were still unwilling to give up. The 5-colored war flag was the sky bamboo lineage's greatest treasure. It was also the second most rare item in the world. If they lost it, it would be a huge blow to their clan. However, the sky bamboo Almighty's tone was gentle. If the prehistoric Big Brother did not give it to him, he would not continue to ask. He did not continue to ask for more. The current sky bamboo branch could not afford to offend this mysterious giant. Unexpectedly, the prehistoric Big Brother waved his sleeve. The 5-colored war flag shrunk to the size of a thumb and branded it between Bamboo Moon's brows. Bamboo Moon was stunned. Then she understood. She felt that the sky bamboo Almighties had come and was hiding in the space. "Thank you, brother." The sky bamboo Almighties heaved a sigh of relief. The other party was not greedy for the 5-color war flag. This meant that the item was not attractive enough to him. If a sky bamboo Almighties really wanted a treasure, they would not return it after they had already gotten it. Just like that, the three of them continued on their journey, leaving behind a group of stunned people. They left just like that? What about Xiao Ming's people? Was the sealed heaven region not going to stand out? A sky bamboo Almighties had died tragically. If the clan did nothing, it would be a huge problem. However, what they did not know was that in the distant world, more than a dozen regions away from here, more than a dozen blood essences pierced through the great universe and merged together. The blood chi was vast and mighty for hundreds of millions of miles. What kind of experts are that? They're crossing the great distance and releasing their auras to suppress the great regions. They're too domineering. What kind of clan would have such confidence? They've affected countless people. Many of them must have suffered chi deviation during their seclusion. All living beings trembled. This was too domineering. More than a dozen big shots had come together. They traversed the great regions and swallowed the heavens with their auras. They disregarded the rules of the sects and clans of the great regions and broke through the barriers in a domineering manner. Such divine might and such confidence shocked the world and shook the world. They were truly outstanding. The sealed heaven region was fully deserving of the title of Overlord. They ran amok all the way and wanted to rebuke the world and look down on all the races in the heavens. The third chapter has arrived. Brothers, today we have double the monthly votes. Please support us with monthly votes daily. Chapter 1004. Tianju's figure became more and more blurry as he let out a long sigh in his heart. He had never admitted defeat in his life and dared to fight any strong enemy. In the end, he had killed his way out and reached the top, looking down on the world. He even thought that if the primogenitor's blood hadn't appeared and told him some terrifying information, Tianju would have really wanted to spar with this peerless talent with his own strength. In the end, Tianju left. He knew that the sealed heaven region was coming, but he didn't even need to think to know that this group of people was going to be in trouble. If the sealed heaven region insisted, they would really kick an iron plate and suffer heavy casualties. Bamboo Moon's glabella blossomed with divine radiance. Strands of five-color divine radiance flowed, crushing the void and distorting it. Even the great Tao was wailing. Bamboo Moon's glabella shone with five-colored divine radiance. The great Tao sacred weapon in her glabella was surrounded by five-colored brilliance. It was filled with peerless power that could suppress a corner of the universe. Its flag was woven from the hides of five different powerful beings. Once this item was revived to its peak state, it could suppress the entire universe. If it was in the hands of a powerful being, it could be used to shock the world. This is the recognition of the five-colored war flag. Of course, with Bamboo Moon's divine power, it was extremely difficult for her to display the true power of the five-colored war flag. However, after being nourished by the life essence of the powerful being, Bamboo Moon was confident that she could step into the realm of the Divine King in a few years. If Bamboo Moon accompanied the five-colored war flag all year round, she would also be nourished by the great Tao sacred weapon. This would be of great help to her, and the benefits were self-evident. After all, she could feel the power of the powerful being at any time. Bamboo Moon's eyes were filled with joy. She could feel the magnificence of the five-colored war flag at any time. This was extremely important to her future cultivation path. She was confident that she could greatly shorten the path of breaking through to the Divine King. Su Yin was about to thicken his skin and ask when he realized that the prehistoric big brother was standing motionless. His deep eyes were focused on the vast plains in front of him, faintly reflecting other objects. At the same time, Su Yin also knew that he had killed so many powerful people today. Once the prehistoric big brother left him, there would definitely be groups of powerful people coming to settle the score with him. Su Yan's eyes flashed with a cold light. He really hoped that a group of strong cultivators would come from the sealed heaven region. As long as they could inflict heavy damage to a life forbidden zone, it would be a bloody event that would be recorded in the history books. During the previous battle, Big Brother Prehistoric had noticed that something was wrong with the Great Plain. This was because he had remained unscathed from beginning to end. It could even be said that he had not moved an inch. I know where this is. Bamboo Moon walked gracefully, her glossy black hair hanging down to her waist. An unsuppressible, saintly aura was constantly released from her body. She looked at the plains and said, "This should be the area where the Chaos Tower appears all year round." Su Yin was moved. He had heard of the Primal Chaos Pagoda a long time ago, but he never imagined that the location of the Primal Chaos Pagoda was here. Big Brother, this Primal Chaos Pagoda is said to be the strongest weapon in history. Su Yin was sluggish. There was such a legend. Just how strong was this Primal Chaos Pagoda? Could it be that it surpassed the supreme treasures? Or perhaps it was the most supreme treasure in the series of supreme treasures. All of a sudden, Big Brother Prehistoric's messy hair danced in the wind. A kind of cold aura spread out. The soles of his feet fiercely stomped on the ground. A loud explosion rang out, causing the entire Great Plain to violently shake. The chaotic scene caused the crowd to lose their colors. They all saw the Great Plain seemingly collapse, and the entire Great Region seemed to show signs of being torn apart. An older generation expert cried out in alarm. Could it be that the Primal Chaos Pagoda is about to appear? If the Primal Chaos Pagoda really opened, the commotion would not be inferior to that of the immortal graveyard. Every time this supreme treasure appeared, it would attract all the young geniuses of the world to come and explore the Primal Chaos Pagoda. Bang! Su Yan's hair stood on end. From the collapsed jet-black crack, it was as if an ancient life form that had been sleeping for an epoch was awakening. The aura it emitted surged violently and overflowed into the heavens. It collided with the heaven and earth, creating a loud sound that shook the soul. Su Yin was stunned. After all, he was very close to the source. This was a chaotic flow of energy that was enough to cause trillions of layers to rise from the ground. The scene was too terrifying. There were even faint phantoms of gods and devils appearing within. What is that? Bamboo Moon was dumbstruck. Big Brother prehistoric strength had caused the primal chaos pagoda's sealed land to split open. This supreme treasure had appeared ahead of time. This is the primal chaos pagoda. The boundless great region was in an uproar. The primal chaos pagoda had actually appeared. It was too sudden and direct, without the slightest sign beforehand. For example, the stone pagodas in the universe had the most direct relationship with the primal chaos pagoda. Some people said that the stone pagodas were born from the primal chaos pagoda, and each of these stone pagodas contained a portion of the primal chaos pagoda's inheritance. As for obtaining the stone pagoda's imprint, it wasn't difficult, but it wasn't easy either. However, when one looked at the vast universe and the primal chaos ruins, there were far too many cultivators that could obtain the stone pagoda's imprint. As for the origins of the primal chaos pagoda, none of the powerhouses of the various races knew of it. After all, countless years had passed, and no one had been able to obtain the recognition of the primal chaos pagoda to take it away. There had been supreme elders that had tried, but they had all failed without exception. Unfortunately, no one had been able to obtain this weapon. Wanting to obtain the recognition of the primal chaos pagoda was an eternal problem. Whether or not someone could obtain it in this world was also unknown. There was once a peerlessly talented cultivator that broke through the trials of the primal chaos pagoda. But in the end, he still failed. He once said that no one could obtain the primal chaos pagoda. Perhaps this weapon is so heaven-defying that it surpasses the common understanding of the world. All of the great regions were shaken. Even if one couldn't obtain the strongest weapon in history, they could still obtain heaven-shaking benefits by exploring the primal chaos pagoda. Su Yan's eyes turned red. This treasure was too terrifying. If he could control the primal chaos pagoda, he feared he could crush a supreme elder powerhouse with it. What? A little friend in the reader group said that Clear Sky would be releasing 3 or 4 chapters today. Baidu Search 81 Chinese Network. No advertising message. Chapter 1005. The ancient pagoda was majestic and peerless, as though it encompassed an entire universe. The pagoda was here, as though it was suppressing the universe, suppressing the flow of time. The heavy aura that emanated from it caused billions of living beings to tremble from the bottom of their hearts. This was a simple stone pagoda. Its entire body was interwoven with all sorts of strange patterns. It was as though a diagram of the great Tao was imprinted on the pagoda. It was also as though the gods and devils of the heavens were sitting within the stone pagoda. Su Yin opened his eye of the universe to observe. He wanted to pry into the secrets hidden within the stone pagoda, but in the process, Su Yin felt a piercing pain in his eye of the universe. It was as though he was prying into billions of gods and devils. A corner of that vast divine might crushed Su Yan's primordial spirit to the point of rupturing. Heavens! Su Yan was aghast. His eyes turned black. He had cultivated the eye of the universe, but with its strength, he was unable to pry into the secrets of the primal chaos pagoda. In short, this pagoda was too astonishing. It seemed to bear the weight of the heavens and emanated with supreme fluctuations. It suppressed billions of living beings. It was terrifying to the extreme. Everyone present went crazy. The strongest creation in history, the primal chaos pagoda, had once again surfaced. Throughout history, there had been peerless geniuses who had attempted it. Although no one had succeeded, they had still obtained many opportunities and inheritances. In short, walking through the primal chaos pagoda, even if they failed, they would still gain something that would be of great help to their cultivation. Its appearance is too sudden. After so many years, I wonder who will be able to obtain the primal chaos pagoda that is hailed as the strongest weapon in history. Just wait. When the time comes, all the young overlords of the universe will rush in. Inside the primal chaos pagoda is the path of the divine king. That's right. Even the divine king will rush in. According to the ancient records of my race, the primal chaos pagoda contains shocking inheritances. If one can grasp 10% or 20% of it, that person will definitely be an extraordinary genius. Even, there was once someone who gained enlightenment in the primal chaos pagoda and stepped into the realm of a mighty figure. There were endless discussions everywhere. In this era of the universe, this was the first time the primal chaos pagoda had surfaced. Some legends were truly enough to make people go crazy. Even the path of almighty beings could be found within. Just how powerful was this primal chaos pagoda? However, this was very difficult. In a universe epic, there might not be a single powerful being who could prove their Tao from the Chaos Tower. However, even if they stepped into the realm of powerful beings with the help of the Chaos Tower, they would not be able to obtain the Chaos Tower. This was the main point. For the various clans, if they could wield the primal chaos pagoda, then that would truly be heaven-defying. With this peerless weapon, it would be enough to stabilize their clan's fate, preventing them from declining for countless years. Charge! The vast great domain was billions of miles away. All clans, open your mountain gates, gather your disciples, and charge towards the primal chaos pagoda. It was as if all rivers ran into the sea. The cries of countless geniuses filled the skies, especially the natives of the primal chaos ruins. They were very clear on what the appearance of the primal chaos pagoda represented. It had long since surpassed the pinnacle of god kings and nurtured supreme beings. In short, to them, this was an opportunity to change their fate. The scene was too spectacular. Countless cultivators charged forward. The primal chaos pagoda was very far away from them, and they were all worried that they would miss the best opportunity to enter if they delayed. However, just as the crowd was going crazy and the tens of thousands of geniuses were shouting in the distant land, Essence blood surged and pierced through the heavens. It then fell down, suppressing the boiling great domain of life, one after another. Plop! The crazily charging cultivators were all paralyzed. They shivered as a wisp of fear gushed out from their hearts. Immediately, the great figures of the various clans were dissatisfied. Who was so tyrannical, leaking their aura and suppressing the entire great domain? Weren't they afraid of angering the masses? He originally wanted to stand out and loudly rebuke, but then his scalp went numb. He stammered and didn't dare say a single word. Oh, that wasn't a single person, but rather wave after wave of terrifying fluctuations spread out. It was as if a sea of stars had exploded with a destructive aura. It covered the sky and covered the earth, crowding the dozens of great domains in the surroundings. More than 10 giant dragons with terrifying auras spat out. One great domain after another was about to enter the dust-covered great domain of life. Everyone stop. No one is allowed to move. An expert with a frightening aura shouted angrily. His entire body's essence blood soared into the sky like true dragons. Tens of thousands of them rose from the ground. His essence blood overflowed into the heavens, representing his power and prosperity. Who are you? How can you be so tyrannical? Someone couldn't help but shout. He felt that this person was too tyrannical. He wanted to seal off the great domain of life. Even the Tao Temple wasn't this tyrannical. A group of ants, you're nothing. Under the fury of the experts from the sealed heaven region with cruel auras one after another, the vast great domain began to rise and fall violently. As for the one who spoke, he directly exploded into a bloody mist. Wah! The whole place was in an uproar. Countless people went mad with anger. This was too tyrannical, directly killing them. However, these experts' auras were becoming more and more powerful. It was to the extent that their auras were about to combine, suppressing millions of li of rivers and mountains, sealing off all great domains of life. An expert with an unfriendly attitude said coldly, "The sealed heaven region wants to punish you. All of you, stop and wait for this matter to end." It was as if a cold wind had blown over, completely dispersing their anger. Each and every one of the old experts was frightened. The sealed heaven region had appeared in the sealed heaven region, and more than 10 experts had charged out to punish them. This confidence, this attitude, and this tyrannical travel procedure left the experts of the various clans speechless. They couldn't help but be convinced. The sealed heaven region's foundation was extraordinary. They crossed over and ran amok, completely ignoring the rules and order of the various great domains. Arrogant my ass. When this group of terrorist leaders crossed over, the great domains were in an uproar. Endless curses were being hurled everywhere. You're relying on your ancestors' glory to occupy a damaged universe. Damn it. I really hope a god will come and slap them to death. The sealed heaven region rampaged all the way. Their divine might overflowed into the heavens as they looked down on the myriad races of the universe. They were truly tyrannical to the extreme. Some people were curious. They wanted to punish the people who had offended the sealed heaven region and even force them to send out more than 10 terrorist leaders. There were definitely almighty experts overseeing them. Who were they dealing with? This lineup was too astonishing. There were also bold experts who secretly followed, wanting to see the truth. As for the Chaos Tower, the heroes of the great Tao City didn't dare to leave the city. After all, a god was near the Chaos Tower, and they didn't dare to rush in. That's not right. In the great Tao City, there were also experts from the Taoist temple who frowned. It wasn't time for the Chaos Tower to appear. Could it be? Some people felt that the Chaos Tower's early appearance might have something to do with the prehistoric Big Brother. Of course, even if the Chaos Tower appeared early, the door hadn't opened. There was no difference between the Chaos Tower not appearing and not appearing. Inform the experts of the Taoist temple to come and control the Chaos Tower. An expert from the Taoist temple said that the Taoist temple had been in charge of the order of the Chaos Tower for generations. That was because the Chaos Tower had nurtured the most terrifying Great Tao Tower, which was obtained by a peerless genius of the Taoist temple a long time ago. As a result, the Taoist temple was qualified to control part of the Chaos Tower's power. This was already very terrifying. It was also part of the foundation of the Taoist temple. The Chaos Tower. Su Yin looked at the tower that was becoming clearer and clearer. He vaguely felt that there was a special power in the Chaos Tower that was attracting him. Su Yin frowned. He had once challenged the stone tower and obtained a special mark. But now, he discovered that there was a special mark being released. It seemed to be the power of the Big Dipper Tower. This made Su Yin very surprised. Could the Big Dipper Tower be considered a stone tower? The Big Dipper Tower was Hokuto's #1 treasure. It could draw on the power of the Big Dipper's origin and fight against mighty beings. Could it be that the Big Dipper Tower was also nurtured by the Chaos Tower? Su Yin was speechless. How powerful was this thing? How long had it been passed down? The majestic Chaos Tower steamed with chaotic light. It hadn't reached the age of its appearance yet. A total of 4 tower doors were closed. Each door was as majestic as a godfiend's mountain, and it was suffocating. It was impossible to tell how many floors this Chaos Tower had. It seemed to only have 1 floor, but it also seemed to have 9. Generally speaking, pagodas were all 9 floors tall. The main reason was that the Chaos Tower was too majestic. It towered into the starry sky, and one couldn't see the end of it. The sun, moon, and stars were as insignificant as dust in front of the Chaos Tower. Su Yin couldn't see the end of the Chaos Tower with his eyes of the universe. How tall was it? There were no records of it in ancient books. Big brother, what are you doing? Next, Su Yin was stunned. He realized that the prehistoric Big Brother was walking toward the Chaos Tower. His eyes were also fixed on the Chaos Tower. This majestic tower bloomed in his eyes, as if it was perfectly presented. Bamboo Moon's jade-like hands clenched tightly. Was the prehistoric Big Brother going to forcefully open the Chaos Tower? Since this thing had existed for so long, and no one had been able to obtain it, it must have its uniqueness. The Chaos Tower had even shaken mighty beings to death. She really didn't want the prehistoric Big Brother to act recklessly. If a disaster really happened, it would be extremely difficult to deal with it. However, in this silent world, there was no sound at all. All of a sudden, they swept over, one after another, resplendent rays of light that overflowed into the sky. It was as if the gods had descended to the mortal realm, bringing with them terrifying energy fluctuations that filled the entire region. Who is it? The experts in the Great Tao City were shocked. Who was so domineering? They came across the region and didn't even restrain their power. They directly suppressed the region. This method was quite domineering. The people from the Sealed Heaven region are a bit too much. This is the territory of the Tao Temple. In the Great Tao City, many experts from the Tao Temple were furious. They already knew that the people from the Sealed Heaven region had come, but the other party's domineering appearance and suppression of the Tao Temple showed that they didn't care about the Tao Temple at all. This was a naked provocation. This also showed the strength of the Sealed Heaven region. They came to denounce, bringing with them world-burning anger. They didn't give face to anyone. Vast divine power filled the entire region. Dozens of terrifying energy fluctuations continued to suppress, forming a scene of heaven and earth collapsing. Sealed Heaven region. Everyone is forbidden to leave. The Sealed Heaven region is now taking over this place. A giant with a terrifying aura looked down on the entire region. His domineering aura sealed the entire region. There was an uproar in the Great Tao City. No one expected the experts from the Sealed Heaven region to come. It seemed that the fall of the mighty beings had completely angered the entire Sealed Heaven region. Otherwise, there wouldn't be dozens of terrifying leaders coming out. Are you deaf? The experts from the Sealed Heaven region were awe-inspiring. Someone stared at the prehistoric Big Brother who was walking toward the Chaos Tower and said in a cruel tone, "No one is allowed to move. Otherwise, they will be killed without mercy." This is the last warning. Chapter 5. There will be more at night. Chapter 1006. The residents of the Great Tao City were in an uproar because of the arrival of the Sealed Heaven region. This was a place where experts gathered. The Immortal Path material storm had attracted experts from various clans. Now that the Sealed Heaven region had arrived, the whole city was in an uproar. Was it going to be a bloody incident today? After all, an expert from the Sealed Heaven region had been killed by the prehistoric Big Brother. How could the Sealed Heaven region let this matter go? There might really be a bloody battle between experts at the pinnacle. The domineering power of the Sealed Heaven region made the experts in the city pale. For many people, it was the first time they had encountered such an unscrupulous and domineering method. Was this the strength of the life forbidden zone? However, due to the words of the Sealed Heaven region's expert, the originally bustling Great Tao City had fallen deathly silent. Even a pin drop could be heard. Indeed, many people were stupefied. Even a group of infuriated old cultivators from the Holy Ji Temple were ready to step out and spar with the cultivators from the domain of Sealing Heaven. There were even cultivators from the Holy Ji Temple who were ready to open the inter-domain teleportation matrix and let the cultivators from the Holy Ji Temple come. They really wanted to fight with the Sealed Heaven region and let them know that the Sealed Heaven region was not the only overlord in this world. However, these old fogies were petrified by the domineering words of the experts from the Sealed Heaven region. However, these old fogies were still able to maintain their composure. One of them gulped and said, "I think we should just let them be for now. Let the Taoist temple stay out of this matter." That's reasonable. That's right. That's very reasonable. The group of old antiques from the Taoist temple nodded and raised their hands in agreement. To the side, Divine King Kong Bo slandered them inwardly. These old fogies are truly evil. Also, the experts of the Sealed Heaven domain don't even know the bloody fact that their clan's almighty expert was killed. They must be tired of living to run into an iron plate. In the Great Tao City, many people were shocked. They saw with their own eyes that a big shot from the Sealed Heaven region was scolding a god who had killed an expert. He even said that the god was deaf and even warned him for the last time. Some people were about to go crazy. Did these tyrannical fellows know who exactly that deity was? Do you know that a powerful being from your clan was crushed by him just now? As for the powerhouses of the Sealed Heaven region, they were extremely proud of the silent scene in the Great Tao City. Did you see that? This was the power of the Sealed Heaven region. Once they announced their name, even a #1 city in the universe would tremble. Where is Elder Chiu Yongfeng? An expert asked loudly, his voice spreading throughout the entire region. Could it be that the enemy has been scared away by Elder Chiu Yongfeng? I've already sensed Elder Chiu Yongfeng's familiar aura from this region. Some people in the city of the Great Tao were at a loss. So you guys didn't know that Chiu Yongfeng, the mighty figure, had already been crushed by the prehistoric Big Brother. We're here to demand an explanation. Who dared to provoke the sealed heaven region? Another person spoke. His voice shook the heavens and the earth, and it carried a strand of supreme divine might. His tone was ice-cold as he said, "Is there anyone who can step forward and correct me? I'll reward the divine king with 3 weapons." His voice was loud, and his aura was terrifying. More than a dozen powerhouses swallowed the entire region. Their blood essence surged and mixed with each other, forming a blurry image of the entire region being overturned. The spectators who followed from afar were all terrified. They saw the vast amount of blood essence in the region where the city of the Great Tao was located. More than a dozen powerhouses of the sealed heaven region seemed to be dominating the world. They were like a group of supreme gods, overlooking the entire region. The world was trembling, but no matter how loud the voice was and how shocking the reward was, there was no response. Not even the voice. In the end, a terrifying leader of the sealed heaven region glared at Su Yan with a pair of bright eyes. He asked, "Junior, do you know where Elder Chiu Yongfeng of my clan went?" "Who's Chiu Yongfeng?" Su Yan asked with a smile. "A mighty figure." This voice had a penetrating power, and it resounded in Su Yan's ears. It was like thunder from the 9 heavens, and it was enough to shock the soul of a powerhouse. Su Yan was a little surprised. "Oh, so his name is Chiu Yongfeng. I know him." In the city of the Great Tao, some people were terrified. They stared at Su Xianren, and some people gasped. This guy could still keep his composure. "Junior, you're very bold. How dare you call the mighty figure of my clan by his name?" Some of the powerhouses of the sealed heaven region were dissatisfied, but they were eager to get the news. They asked again, "Fine, I won't lower myself to your level for now. Where'd he go? And who was it that dared to provoke the sealed heaven region? Don't worry and tell me. With me backing you up, no one will dare to make things difficult for you in the future." Many of the onlookers were trembling. They wanted to say, "It's him, it's him, it's him. Haha. I say, seniors, isn't this obvious?" Su Yan smiled and breathed in the air between heaven and earth. He said intoxicatedly, "Don't you feel that Chiu Yongfeng's aura is everywhere in the mountains and rivers?" King Kampa felt a chill down his spine. He wanted to say, "Leave quickly. Don't you know what kind of disaster will happen if you provoke the sealed heaven region? Maybe this place will become a place of blood." "Of course," the leader of the sealed heaven region said with an arrogant face, "Our almighty beings have unparalleled divine power. Their aura can suppress 10 regions, let alone a big region. So what if they can suppress 10 regions? This great region is filled with the aura of our clan's mighty figure, which means that the battle is fierce." "Of course," Su Yan nodded and said, "the mighty figure's power is unparalleled. His blood essence nourishes the world and creates a sacred, pure land. Let's get down to business." The man interrupted Su Yan. He thought that he was flattering Chiu Yongfeng to the Li, but his words were kind. "You're interesting. You can keep your composure. You'll achieve great things in the future. Speak. Tell me, who is it that angered my clan?" More than a dozen experts of the sealed heaven region released their aura and continued to spread in all directions to prevent anyone from escaping. But some people were already suspicious. The aura of Chiu Yongfeng's mighty figure was everywhere and even merged with the mountains and rivers. What was going on? Why did Chiu Yongfeng come to this sacred Pure Land? Have you forgotten what I said? A cold voice suddenly came. The leader of the sealed heaven region, who had a bad temper, was angry. He stared at the prehistoric Big Brother with a pair of cold eyes and continued to walk toward the Chaos Tower. Even as soon as he finished speaking, the prehistoric Big Brother was still walking. "Who are you?" The hot-tempered expert of the sealed heaven region had an extremely cold aura. The entire great region seemed to have turned into a snowy country. He looked at the prehistoric big brother with cold eyes and said, "I'm talking to you. How dare you not answer? You're really out of your mind." Many people in the great Tao city couldn't take it anymore. They gasped for breath, and their limbs went soft. The group of people from the Tao temple was speechless and watched the situation develop. The sealed heaven region's actions today were too domineering. They didn't want to go and remind them. King Kampa felt that the life-forbidden zone was too domineering. Someone should teach them a lesson and let this group of unscrupulous overlords know one thing. There's always someone better than you. The prehistoric big brother tilted his head slightly. A pair of black eyes emitted a strange light and stared at the expert of the sealed heaven region who had scolded him. "You dare to stare at me? Have the people of the outside world forgotten about the sealed heaven region?" The hot-tempered expert was so angry that his nose was crooked. His body quickly sank. He was wearing a golden robe, and his divine aura was vast and mighty in the entire great region. Immeasurable energy swept toward the prehistoric big brother to suppress him. However, no matter how amazing his energy was, the prehistoric big brother was still calm, even as calm as the ancient abyss. At this moment, the eyes of the experts of the sealed heaven region fell on the prehistoric big brother. The old man in the golden robe couldn't stand it anymore. He raised his big hand and hit the prehistoric big brother. He wanted to teach the prehistoric big brother a bloody lesson. It would be best if he could smash the prehistoric big brother into ashes with one slap. The old man is tired of living. The great Tao city, which was silent to the extreme, was in an uproar. Many people shouted loudly and stared at the prehistoric big brother with their eyes wide open. No one saw his movements. They only saw the palm of the expert from the sealed heaven region crack directly when it was about to touch the prehistoric big brother. The half-mighty in the golden robe even silently walked to his death. No one saw how he died. They only saw that his eyes lost their light. Although he still retained his arrogant attitude, he still died. When he died, he didn't even know how he died. Oh no! There were a total of 13 experts from the sealed heaven region. The expressions of the other 12 experts suddenly changed. Among them, there was even a giant with a terrifying aura who opened his eyes in anger. There was a trace of horror in his eyes. Even he didn't see how the prehistoric big brother did it. However, a half-step almighty had died right under his nose, which made him furious. He glared at the prehistoric big brother and roared, "You're so cruel! How dare you kill a powerhouse of the sealed sky region? I don't care who you are, you'll pay the price in blood." Boom! The entire region trembled as if it was about to explode. Layers of majestic chi and blood light soared and merged together to form an energy source that could overturn thousands of regions. It covered the sky and the sun, and the spectators in the distance trembled. What happened? Was the sealed heaven region at war with the Tao temple? Right at this moment, an ancient chariot rumbled over, and it carried Qiu Ming, who possessed a formidable, imposing aura, back to this territory. "Su Yin, you're going to die." Qiu Ming stared at Su Yin and shouted, waking up the experts of the sealed heaven region. In particular, the experts who had questioned Su Yin before were about to go crazy. Before they came, they had received some information that the source of the storm in the city of the Great Paths was a little guy named Su Yin. However, Su Yin had just talked to him in such a situation. How could he bear it? Boom! The dozens of experts of the sealed heaven region shone brightly and tore apart the stars in the universe. The vast rivers, mountains, and earth began to tremble and collapse. All of this was caused by the flames of their anger, and it was a disaster that had been born. Su Yin shouted with a pained expression, "You old guys, the life essence of the mighty has just been cultivated into a sacred pure land, which is extremely suitable for cultivation. Why didn't you cherish it at all? You destroyed Qiu Yongjie's selfless contribution. How hateful." Sixth update. It had been a long time since there were so many. Jiuqian Divine Emperor. Chapter 1007. From this moment on, the entire domain began to tremble. More than a dozen world-burning auras appeared with a loud rumble, ready to tear apart the souls of millions of creatures. This world-burning fury that spread out surged and roared. It shook the clouds that covered the sky and caused great rivers and mountains to sink because of it. Large, jet-black cracks extended very far into the distance. Something big is about to happen. The spectators who had followed them all felt their hair stand on end. More than a dozen experts from the sealed heaven region were so angry that they were emitting such a powerful aura. One could well imagine how serious the situation was. There must have been something extremely tragic that had enraged all the experts from the sealed heaven region. Impossible. Another expert from the sealed heaven region let out a loud roar, shattering the stars in the sky. His magic power was monstrous, and he was even a disciple of Qiu Yongfeng. He had been cultivating for tens of thousands of years. At first, he felt that something was wrong because the entire domain was filled with Qiu Yongfeng's aura. He guessed that the blood essence of an almighty expert might have leaked out and returned to the universe. However, this thought only flashed through his mind before he directly rejected it. But now, Su Yin said that Qiu Yongfeng had cultivated the sacred Pure Land. This really made the experts of the sealed heaven region so angry that their lungs were about to explode. Could it be that the almighty expert of this race had fallen? Xiaoming almost couldn't stand still. Qiu Yongfeng was his Tao protector. Wasn't it too far-fetched for an almighty expert to fall here? However, as Xiaoming carefully thought back to it, his scalp tingled. Previously, blood had dyed the land for billions of miles, and the phenomenon had shocked the world. Although it had only appeared for a brief moment, it was exactly the same as what was recorded in the ancient texts. Since the prehistoric Big Brother and the others were intact, there could only be one result. The almighty expert of this race had fallen. More than a dozen experts roared in succession, shaking the heaven and earth. This was an extremely shocking scene. It was as if more than a dozen immortal furnaces were burning. Their blood essence was like an ocean, vast and mighty, reaching the peak of the dome of the sky and boiling. They were all too strong. If the Almighty didn't appear, who could compete with them? Now that there was still a supreme expert here, he could still remain calm. His gaze was fixed on the prehistoric Big Brother. He really wanted to know how Qiu Yongfeng fell, and how strong was this person. However, time didn't give them a chance to find out the truth. One by one, the experts of the sealed heaven region tried their best to recover and stand in their strongest state. There were even some who directly brought out a Heavenar halberd. This sect's supreme treasure immediately began to burn, becoming heavy to the extreme. It crushed down until even the great Tao was wailing, and great cracks even appeared in the void. Kill! The sealed heaven territory's expert brandished his halberd and hacked at Su Yin, intending to crush him into a bloody mist. Whoever dares to provoke the realm of sealing heaven, I don't care who they are, I'll annihilate their entire race, sever their bloodline, and crush their last drop of blood. There was also a lion-like expert who roared angrily. The Dharma idol behind him supported the heavens, and a sea of stars protruded from his back. It was blazing to the extreme, and its form was like a primordial sun that soared through the sky. It began to attack the prehistoric Big Brother. The sealed heaven region is really unlucky this time. They kick an iron plate this time. The life-forbidden zone is invincible in the world, but there will always be fearless gods who will take care of them. In the great Tao city, the experts trembled. They didn't know the truth at all. They didn't know that Qiu Yongfeng had been crushed by the prehistoric Big Brother with a single slap. This was a bloody fact. Although a large number of experts had come to the sealed heaven region, how strong could they be? As long as it wasn't a supreme expert, no one would be able to resist the prehistoric Big Brother's peerless, ferocious power. This time, the sky is really pierced through. King Kampa wiped the cold sweat from his forehead. Once this matter was spread out, it would certainly cause a sensation in the entire cultivation world. Even the sealed heaven region wouldn't let this matter go. Given the strength and tyranny of this race, it was inevitable that groups of old monsters would come to kill. Even the supreme experts would come with the race's supreme treasure. After all, if this matter couldn't wash away the shame, the sealed heaven region would lose the symbol of the life forbidden zone's glory, and the race's prestige would be greatly reduced. Rumble. The sky was full of murderous aura, surging and boiling, and it spread throughout the vast region, shaking the four seas, and then surging to even more distant regions. In the chaotic ruins, there were constant major events. First, there was the appearance of a supreme expert's death, and then there was the incident of the sealed heaven region's tyranny breaking through. Now, there was the terrifying world where the great Tao city was located. Is chaos coming? Some of the old monsters following behind muttered to themselves. Someone dared to provoke the life forbidden zone, which was enough to show that they were not afraid of trouble. Now, they had already started fighting. The experts from the sealed heaven region. In addition to the supreme expert of this race holding the line, the other 11 experts each displayed their magical powers. They took out the murderous aura of divine weapons and slashed at the prehistoric Big Brother and Su Yin. There was even someone who wanted to kill Bamboo Moon. In the face of such a bloody situation, Su Yin pulled Bamboo Moon and quickly came behind the prehistoric Big Brother. Just standing here, their hearts were in their stomachs. With the Big Brother here, who would dare to show off here? The extremely cruel killing situation, the killing methods of the 11 experts, filled the sky, covered the sky, and attacked the prehistoric Big Brother. It seemed that the repeated murderous aura, the repeated targeting, had angered the prehistoric Big Brother's soul that had been dormant for a long time. 2 terrifying rays of light burst out from his withered pupils. Moreover, a bloody aura emerged from his tall bronze body. That was an extremely terrifying energy that wanted to shatter the world's Tao, break through the universe's reincarnation, and kill until he was invincible in the world. Su Yin and Bamboo Moon's hearts trembled. It was the first time they saw the prehistoric Big Brother angry. He was really angry. Dragons have reverse scales, and those who touch them will die. Without a doubt, the continuous provocation aroused the prehistoric Big Brother's ferocious aura. Su Yin seemed to see the future where blood flowed for millions of miles, and the life-forbidden zone was about to explode. Go! The Almighty of the sealed heaven domain, who had been silent, suddenly trembled, and a low voice emerged, followed by an urgent roar. Go! It could be seen from this mighty being's eyes that there was a hint of fear in his eyes. He could vaguely see the world bleeding, the heavens collapsing, and the world withering away from the prehistoric Big Brother's bloody aura. These incredible scenes seemed to be transmitted from prehistoric times and manifested in this world, oppressing the Almighty of the sealed heaven domain, making them unable to summon up the courage to fight the prehistoric Big Brother. Unfortunately, the experts who attacked could not hear the words of the Almighty of the sealed heaven domain, because when the prehistoric Big Brother's eyes were bright, their eyes had been blinded, and they could only use their strongest attack in fear. In fact, the words of the Almighty of the sealed heaven domain were not directed at them. This group of experts was lost, and there was still time to train them in the future, but Xiaoming could not die. He was the next generation of almighty experts to be trained in the sealed heaven domain. Buzz. The space around Xiaoming was directly shattered by the roar of the Almighty of the sealed heaven domain, and he also activated the power of the domain-shaking scroll that protected Xiaoming, carrying him away as far as possible. In the face of such a barbaric giant dragon, if he was one step slower, he would not be able to escape alive. If he left now, there was still a chance to survive. After all of this, the Almighty of the sealed heaven domain roared to the sky, and the entire domain trembled violently. The Almighty was fully awakened, and his blood essence was limitless, and his chi could swallow billions of miles away. He could awaken the source of the supreme magical power in his body in an extreme time, and he could draw the power of the universe and cut off a corner of the universe for himself. He was creating a new world here, and as he breathed, the vitality of life in the sealed heaven domain dried up one after another. All the energy gathered in his palms, and he was performing the supreme sealing technique of the sealed heaven domain. This was not a killing power, but a defensive power. Without a doubt, he wanted to stop the prehistoric Big Brother so that he could escape back to the sect and report. He was very clear that once this god went crazy, he would not be able to escape directly. He had to find a way to stop him. However, when he finished all of this, when the energy gathered in the world had reached a horrifying level, the Almighty was really desperate. What kind of powerhouse was that? He dominated the world, and the smell of blood that rose from his pores pierced through the world and killed one after another of the big shots of the sealed heaven domain. The world was dyed with blood, the great Tao wailed, and the sun and moon lost their light. It was a kind of supreme, heavenly power that was awakening, and as the prehistoric Big Brother released his killing intent, everything trembled under his feet. No, the Almighty of the sealed heaven domain panicked. What kind of fierce person did they provoke? Even if he was a peerless Almighty, could he really be so cruel? The great art of sealing sky, decimating earth that he had conjured was completely unable to stop this tall figure that was striding over. Everything exploded, and nothing remained. Even the dozens of great weapons that slashed on his body were scattered into pieces. What happened over there? The onlookers in the distance were completely petrified. The dozens of blood essences that covered the entire domain dissipated like lightning and disappeared completely. Was he killed? Even the Almighty, who had tried his best to recover as quickly as possible, had an unstable aura. An old monster was uneasy because he felt a kind of grand fluctuation that covered the entire universe being released. The aura of the Almighty from the sealed heaven domain was very small in front of the aura of the prehistoric Big Brother. It felt as if he was being engulfed and swallowed by an abyss. He felt that it was an illusion. The Almighty had tried his best to recover, but what kind of enemy was he facing? How could he be blasted to nothing in a single move? The whole world was filled with an aura of fear. What was going on? Where were the dozens of overbearing experts from the sealed heaven domain? Why was there not a trace of aura left? Even the distant regions, millions of miles away, were affected by the sealed heaven domain and became dim and lightless. In the sealed heaven domain, a funeral bell rang, and the whole group of people cried out in grief, because they found that the soul lamps of the two Almighty had been extinguished, and the dozens of big shots had been blasted to pieces like lightning. What had happened? Who was killing the experts of the sealed heaven domain? Investigate. Use the sky-piercing mirror and shine it on the great Tao city. I want to see the truth, the truth. Even if he is a peerless Almighty, he must kneel and tremble in front of the sealed heaven domain. A group of old ancestors from the sealed heaven domain stood out and roared one after another. They couldn't bear the loss of two almighty experts. A group of living fossils with red eyes took out a treasure mirror that could illuminate the universe. The light from the mirror radiated at a terrifying speed to the great Tao city, which was overflowing with blood. They wanted to see a corner of the truth. However, as soon as the mirror shone on the prehistoric Big Brother, the sky-piercing mirror hanging in the sealed heaven domain collapsed, and the living fossils who controlled the mirror died in despair. Roar! Vaguely, they heard a roar and saw a supreme Overlord standing up in the chaos. Across the vast river of time and space, he transmitted a murderous voice that wanted to shatter the entire sealed heaven domain. It seemed that they had angered the heavens and were about to send down a heavenly punishment that could destroy the world. Chapter 1008. It was earth-shattering. A raging storm exploded from the chaotic ruins. At first, it was the sealed heaven territory that had appeared all of a sudden. The sealed heaven territory had been condensed from the incomplete universe. It had exuded the supreme God aura, overlooking tens of thousands of races in the universe. Once the sealed heaven territory appeared, the area within hundreds of millions of miles turned into a forbidden area. The terrifying sealing power affected hundreds of big territories, making billions of creatures tremble in fear. In the era when the sealed heaven territory appeared, many ancient families were preparing to migrate to the territory of the sealed heaven territory. especially when the sealed heaven territory appeared. More than a dozen terrifying leaders appeared one after another, crossing the big territories without any scruples. If they were patrolling their territories, they would have crossed at least thousands of big territories, causing chaos and panic. Something big must have happened. Otherwise, how could the overlords of the sealed heaven territory be enraged? Especially when the auras of more than a dozen experts spread out, suppressing the big territories and rampaging all the way to the big territory where the great Tao city was located. This matter caused a sensation in the world, and in a very short time, it spread across the chaotic ruins. However, when the terrifying leaders of the sealed heaven territory approached the great Tao city, the waves of blood essence dissipated like lightning. Even the life essence of a mighty figure who was trying his best to revive was annihilated. It was shocking news, and the onlookers couldn't believe it. What had happened? Especially in the territory of the sealed heaven territory, the vast rivers, mountains, and earth trembled, and anger surged up to the sky. The huge sealed heaven territory began to rumble, as if a war was going on, making the hundreds of millions of miles of territory restless, rippling with world-destroying power, oppressing all living beings to crawl and tremble. The severity of the matter intensified, and the consequences were unimaginable. However, no one had expected that when the sealed heaven territory projected a dazzling light and shone on the great Tao city, everything changed, and fear was born in the world. It was like a boundless tsunami had swept across the vast, chaotic ruins. Oh my God! Countless creatures trembled. They saw with their own eyes that the supreme, sealed heaven region began to tremble. The entire great region seemed to have been torn apart. Bright red blood splashed out, dyeing the sky red. This signified the fall of a powerful expert. What had happened that caused the death of an expert in the sealed heaven territory? Could it be that some terrifying race was attacking the sealed heaven region to erase a forbidden zone? This matter was just too frightening. How grand was the life-restricted region? It occupied a damaged cosmos, powerful since ancient times. Who dared to take action against the life-restricted region? However, at this moment, they saw with their own eyes that the sealed heaven region was rumbling, as if it was going to sink and disappear from the world. Vaguely, in the vast and boundless chaos ruins, in this majestic land, an air current soared up and pierced through the peak of the universe. It was like a flood that had swept over from prehistoric times, and also like a supreme overlord that had risen from the peak of the boundless chaos. From this moment on, in the ancient chaos ruins, in the famous mountains and rivers, in the ancient cultivation caves on the divine islands beyond the sea, and even in the forbidden zones, all the sleeping creatures woke up. In the land of primal chaos, gods and demons danced chaotically, gods wept and ghosts wept. What happened? The divine king was terrified and uneasy. He felt that the chaos ruins had become 10,000 times more terrifying. Too many old monsters had been awakened from their slumber. Moreover, one after another, the supreme experts were returning from their slumber. Apparently, they were all stunned. It was an earth-shattering scene. For a moment, the chaos ruins were filled with gods and demons. The scene was monstrous. Only God knew how many hidden experts stood up, causing the vast chaos ruins to be filled with a supreme sense of oppression. Trillions of creatures were trembling. Their scalps were numb when they got up. The chaos ruins had completely changed. The atmosphere was different from before. It was terrifying. It was as if they had entered an era of bloodshed. It was as if today was the day of the final struggle for supremacy. All of this was because of one person. The aura of blood released by him disturbed the peace of the chaos lands, causing the myriad races in the universe to fall into a state of panic. There were even experts among the races who were stronger than the Divine King. At the same time, they gave the order to seal their races and not let them out. The situation was too serious. An unforeseen change had occurred. They were worried that their own race had provoked a colossus that they should not have provoked. This is absolutely impossible. The ancient sealed heaven region was still trembling. This extremely majestic region was stained with blood, emitting a tragic aura, and also filled with panic. How many years had passed? How many years had passed? How many universe epochs had passed? Who could make the sealed heaven region feel uneasy? This race had always been strong, dominating the incomplete universe and looking down on the myriad races in the universe. But now, the sealed heaven region was emitting waves of panic. What was this? The supreme weapon of this race, the heaven-reaching mirror, had collapsed. The 5 experts who controlled the heaven-reaching mirror had all suffered grievances. Their souls had been extinguished directly. They did not even know how they died. Seal the mountain, quick, seal the mountain. I will go and call the ancestor. Our race is in big trouble. A group of old antiques came out of their race. They roared hysterically, completely out of control. They had lost their previous majesty and seemed to be terrified. This was an unfathomable event that had happened to the sealed heaven region. They did not even know who the enemy was. However, the enemy roared and the sound traveled across thousands of great regions, penetrating the strongest defense of the sealed heaven region and killing 5 of their elders. What kind of terrifying battle strength was this? It was impossible for a peerless expert to do this. The enemy might even come to kill them. Could the sealed heaven region stop this god zone? This aura is faintly recovering. It penetrated the chaotic land. Who is it attacking? Some of the old monsters were shocked. What a terrifying giant. It seems that the strongest expert has gone mad. His magic power is monstrous and penetrated the boundless land. How can such a god zone appear? It doesn't make sense. The vast primal chaos ruins, because of the anger of the prehistoric Big Brother, fell into a violent storm. Without a doubt, the myriad races were shaken. The peak races were all shaken. What exactly happened? How could it cause such a violent storm to appear? The entire city of the Great Path was dead silent. Something unpredictable had happened, causing the group of elders in the Taoist temple to tremble in fear. How powerful was the prehistoric Big Brother? Could it be that he had surpassed the Almighty? It was also at this moment, in the magnificent and vast chaotic ruins, the various clans and seniors of the various sects that were silent in shock felt their hairs stand on end at this moment. The heavens and the earth welcomed an unexpected change once more, and it was as if the ninth hell had emerged into the world and emanated an extremely ghastly aura. Boom! A certain large region collapsed in an instant. The universe's great Tao was torn apart. This was a large black crack that penetrated the entire region. It came too suddenly, causing the region to suffer heavy casualties. A large number of creatures died with grievances. Many ancient cities sank, causing a tragedy. However, this wasn't the only crack. In another distant region, a large crack also appeared. It was as if it didn't exist in this world. It was as if the ancient path of time and space had appeared. Only the experts with extraordinary means noticed it, especially the Sky Bamboo Almighty who had returned to the Sky Bamboo lineage. His expression changed drastically again as he observed with his heavenly eye. In the boundless chaotic ruins, large space-time cracks appeared at the same time in various major directions. Also, there was a tragic aura that rushed into the heavens. The number of people who died was immeasurable. This was a tragedy that erupted too suddenly. A total of 18 large cracks, as if representing the 18 layers of purgatory, surged with billowing black smog that covered the sun. Vaguely, it covered the chaotic land. This force is still here. The Sky Bamboo Almighty clenched his fist. It was hard to imagine how strong this force was that could make a top Almighty lose his composure. In short, the 18 cracks tore open 18 large regions. Billowing black torrents gushed out, drowning the universe and covering the universe's sea of stars. They began to wildly extend towards a certain region. The sky was gloomy. The sun and moon were without light. The great Tao was suppressed until it was distorted. A terrifying aura spread out, as if a supreme demon lord had descended. This scene was too frightening. It simply destroyed millions of miles of territory, causing billions of creatures to tremble. They felt as if the end of the universe had arrived, and the earth had sunk into a dark age. Heavens, what is that? It's searching for the source of the aura from before. Is it going to erupt with the strongest attack? The vast territory was filled with an aura of terror. This sudden change made them all panic, and they wanted nothing more than to prostrate themselves in worship in the direction of the source. They didn't know what was happening. They only saw the 18 cracks rapidly expand. The surging black torrents instantly covered the heavens and the earth, surging towards the Great Tao City. The entire Great Tao City had recovered. The heroes of the Tao Temple were on guard as if they were facing a great enemy. They even instantly sent out messages, summoning the experts of the Tao Temple to come immediately. It was very likely that a great battle would erupt here. Perhaps this region, or even the surrounding hundreds of large regions, would vanish into thin air. This immeasurable event caused great chaos. The Yinyang Road. Su Yan's expression was ugly. This was definitely the Yinyang Road. Their forces had actually extended here. They were even targeting the prehistoric Big Brother. This made Su Yan's scalp tingle. Could it be that the black paper had caused the Yinyang Road to pursue them? When the prehistoric Big Brother released his aura, the Yinyang Road had come knocking on his door. Even in the face of the prehistoric Big Brother's ferocious aura, the Yinyang Road had still come. This was enough to show how serious the problem was. Actually, in Su Yan's heart, the prehistoric Big Brother was invincible. However, the Yinyang Road also represented the unknown and fear. How terrifying! The Great Tao City was on the verge of collapse. Even the Divine King was terrified. He felt that the aura extending from the 18 layers was going to collapse the Great Tao City. This kind of divine might was beyond their understanding. The rulers of the various clans found it hard to believe. What kind of force had appeared? There was also a sneer. Numerous black, ancient roads radiated over. They were boundlessly grand, as if they had turned into 18 black dragons that were going to lock down the prehistoric Big Brother. At the same time, in the distant sealed heaven region, where the mountain gate was about to be sealed, the expressions of a group of old antiques changed drastically. A few old ancestors of the clan stood out and said in a deep voice, "This force has appeared. They have the same enemy as us. Release the sealed heaven diagram and activate our clan's supreme treasure. Sink this giant for me." Faced with such an important decision, the group of old ancestors of the sealed heaven region made a decision in just a few breaths' time. They were clear about the pros and cons. They didn't know if the prehistoric Big Brother would come knocking on their door. Once he did, their clan would be in danger. But now they had decided to join forces with the Yinyang Road to sink a supreme giant. 9 Heaven's Divine Emperor. Chapter 1009. Just what level of conquest is this? Just how powerful is Su Shinran's Tao Protector? How could he instigate such a terrifying conquest? All the deities were trembling. The entire vast world was shaking, and it affected the boundless great regions. The world was already covered in darkness. The oppressive aura made countless creatures kneel and tremble. They didn't even dare raise their heads to look because the vast divine might was enough to crush their souls. They could only submit. This was an indescribable divine might. An unimaginable great battle was about to be unleashed. Thick dark ripples had already engulfed over. During this process, the bombardment caused each and every great region to tremble. Some creatures with sky-reaching vitality were even blasted apart. This kind of tyrannical attitude and unrivaled might was even more tyrannical than the sealed heaven region. For a moment, one great region after another had their most powerful creatures fall. Peak races collapsed, and majestic ancient cities collapsed one after another. In short, the world was in chaos. Blood was flowing, and people were howling in grief. It was as if this era was about to enter the ultimate era. The world was about to be destroyed. The immeasurable calamity was only the descent of darkness. It was a bloody incident that caused hundreds of races to weep. The fall of their most powerful experts was a grief they couldn't bear. They didn't even know what kind of race had emerged or what kind of power was going crazy. Why did they carry out such a desperate matter? Could it be that they weren't afraid of angering the outstanding heroes and attacking them together? However, ever since this power surfaced, not a single expert stood out. In the end, they were still too powerful. The bloody scene infuriated the prehistoric Big Brother. His head of disheveled hair danced about. His tall bronze body released a terrifying beam of light. It tore through the universe's starry skies, illuminating the darkness and restoring light to this world. Kiki, that gloomy and cold laughter attacked again. The storm gushing out from the 18 great cracks was much more ferocious than before. Within the darkness, one could vaguely see enormous silhouettes appearing one after another. They were sinister and strange, and the aura they emitted suppressed the light. When the world once again escaped into the darkness, it was as if a horde of demons were dancing wildly. The darkness once again dominated the great earth. It emitted malevolence and madness as it submerged the universe's starry skies. A horde of demons howled. Boom! The boundless earth shook, and the entire chaos ruins seemed to tremble because of this. Great Path City's divine light shone brightly. The city's resources were set ablaze. All of the old antiques in the Tao Palace erupted with power to bolster the defenses of Great Path City. However, even though the Great Tao City had recovered to its peak state, it was still extremely difficult to pierce through the darkness. As the boundless darkness passed through, it crushed the Great Tao City and caused it to rumble. The city was really on the verge of collapsing. Roar! Within the city of the Great Tao, all the cultivators roared. They were very clear about what they would face next. If they didn't act now, it would be too late. The passage of darkness caused all the powerful cultivators in the city to awaken. They penetrated the energy into the Great Tao City and tried their best to maintain the city's defense. Similarly, the top figures were terrified. They were merely affected by the dark energy that had crossed the border. Then, just how desperate was the source of the dark energy? Everything was blurred. They couldn't clearly see where the battle was taking place, but some people could vaguely see that the tall figure was like a pillar that supported the heavens. No matter how the torrent of darkness raged on, he still stood tall without falling. How strong was this hero? People didn't doubt that the prehistoric Big Brother could destroy the entire Great Tao City if he unleashed his full power. Big Brother, Su Yin and Bamboo Moon were extremely worried. Because they had the prehistoric Big Brother's energy guarding them, they were unharmed. However, they could feel that even the prehistoric Big Brother's energy was extremely distorted at this moment. There was a threat of it exploding at any time. One could imagine what the prehistoric Big Brother was facing. However, he was consistent from beginning to end. He had the elegant demeanor of swallowing the universe. Essence and blood evaporated from his pores, constantly tearing apart the darkness. However, the 18 layers of dark energy were constantly reassembling in the midst of destruction. It was like a true immortal substance that couldn't be erased or broken. If this continued, would the prehistoric Big Brother be able to withstand such a peerless attack? Boom! The momentum intensified. It was as if a dam had exploded in the sea of the universe. The black torrent surged once again, covering the sea of stars in the universe and destroying vast regions. The 18 layers of terrifying torrents vaguely merged into one and evolved into the hand of doomsday that could destroy all life in the universe. As the energy vaguely manifested, Su Yin discovered that the prehistoric Big Brother had changed. He appeared very frightening, his eyes blazing even more fiercely than the heavenly blade. This was a kind of rage spreading. The moment it surged, it was as if the heavenly drum that pushed the myriad worlds was exploding. His figure blazed 10,000 times brighter, blooming in the darkness. Awakening. In the end, the prehistoric Big Brother was a burning immortal furnace, steaming with inextinguishable radiance. He emitted a peerless boldness that intimidated the 9 heavens and 10 earths, sweeping through the world. The boundless darkness evaporated. This was the immortal energy that belonged to the prehistoric Big Brother. It forcibly incinerated the vast region of darkness. However, the land covered by the darkness was at least billions of miles away. At this moment, the prehistoric Big Brother used his own strength to forcefully open a dark calamity in the great domain of life. There were even strange syllables that appeared in his body. It was as if he was unlocking the seal in his body. He wanted to walk step by step to the peak and recover the strength of his heyday. Vaguely, Su Yin discovered that the prehistoric Big Brother had aged a little. However, his aura also suddenly became a lot more tyrannical. The great Tao was wailing, and a corner of the universe was suppressed to the point that it was dark. He is awakening. How strong is he? What kind of powerhouse did Su Xianren invite? In the city of the great Tao, the powerhouses were terrified. An invisible force field was spreading from the body of the prehistoric Big Brother. It spread across the entire great domain and then to the surrounding great domains. There was a kind of boundless divine power that could support the universe. This invisible force field was even continuing to expand and magnify, to the point that it was terrifying. The prehistoric Big Brother's aura was changing all the time. There was no doubt that he had encountered a strong enemy. He was unlocking the seal in his body and constantly digging out the buried potential in his body. No matter how the darkness surged, it was unable to approach an inch of this great domain. Even as the prehistoric Big Brother's aura was released, the rolling darkness evaporated. Sooner or later, all the dark energy would be evaporated. All of this appeared in the eyes of the powerhouses in the city of the great Tao. The powerhouses of various races were in disbelief. This was too frightening. What kind of domain had this mysterious powerhouse cultivated to? However, for the people outside, they speculated that the city of the great Tao was likely to be destroyed. The number one city in the universe was likely to be reduced to ashes. Even if the Taoist temple wanted to go and help, they could not open a portal to cross into the city of the great Tao. What? The faces of the impatient cultivators in the Taoist temple changed. Someone sensed an aura that was approaching the great Tao city. Finally, they saw it clearly. It was a map. However, this map was spread out like a corner of the universe. It covered the sky and covered one star region after another. On the map, there were billions of strands of brilliant immortal marks, steaming with immortal divine power and exuding supreme fluctuations. Fengtian map. What are the powerhouses of the Fengtian domain trying to do? The powerhouses of the Taoist temple were furious. The city of the great Tao was in danger. At the same time, 10 or 20% of the young overlords of the universe were gathered in the city of the great Tao. If the city of the great Tao encountered disaster, the loss would be too great. It would be a great loss for the entire world of cultivation. The supreme treasure of the Fengtian domain was activated. It crossed the vast land and was getting closer and closer to the city of the great Tao. The Fengtian map was rumored to be able to seal a corner of the universe once it was activated. It was the number one treasure of the Fengtian domain. It was also a famous supreme treasure in the universe. This golden map was extremely terrifying. It was surrounded by billions of immortal light. In the end, it attacked. It also exuded a terrifying will. They wanted to destroy the prehistoric Big Brother. They chose to join forces with the Yin-Yang Road to fight against this supreme giant. Oh no! The powerhouses of the Taoist temple joined forces. A big hole appeared in the darkness, and the Fengtian map rushed in. Obviously, in the eyes of the powerhouses of the Taoist temple, the prehistoric Big Brother was the only one who could keep the darkness in check. However, once the Fengtian domain joined in and suppressed the prehistoric Big Brother, the consequences would be unimaginable. These bastards, do they know the consequences? Can they bear it? Some cultivators from the Taoist temple thought that the cultivators from the domain of sealing heaven had gone mad. Who could bear the consequences of the collapse of the city of the Great Path? Was the domain of sealing heaven not afraid of angering the other overlords who could also look down on all the races in the universe. The entire chaotic ruins were in chaos. The various races of the ancestral hall couldn't sit still. Powerhouses appeared and rushed to their destination. Zhu Tian and the others were in the city of the Great Tao. Once the city of the Great Tao encountered calamity, the losses would be unbearable. Their race would lose the glory of an era of the universe. And the loss of an era of the universe was likely to cause the peak races to face decline. In the eyes of the world, the terrifying land of darkness was constantly expanding and growing stronger. However, no one knew that in the direction of the source, a figure was forcefully opening the darkness. He was like the heavens, wanting to dominate the world. The god has made his move. The powerhouses who could see the light in the darkness roared. They all saw a figure, majestic and blazing. His back was like the eternal blue sky, enough to support the chaos of the darkness. However, when the prehistoric Big Brother's aura was so terrifying that it could shake the entire darkness, a magnificent aura suddenly spread here. A golden sky map instantly struck over, covering the entire region. Billions of layers of immortal light poured down, surging towards the prehistoric Big Brother. A terrifying sealing energy burst out from within. Sealed Heaven's map, this is bad. This is a supreme treasure. Even the strongest powerhouses have to use all their strength to resist this supreme treasure. The Sealed Heavens domain used this map to target the god. The powerhouses of the city of the Great Tao cursed loudly. A bloody calamity was coming, and the Sealed Heavens domain was intensifying the calamity. Weren't they afraid of bearing great karma? In an instant, the magnificent airflow of the Sealed Heavens map suppressed the prehistoric Big Brother. The dark energy that had been blasted out once again surged out furiously from the boiling process. Wrapped in an aura that could destroy the world, darkness once again took over the world. Rumble, a loud explosion that was enough to overturn 10,000 worlds exploded. Under the trembling eyes of everyone, a huge explosion occurred in the darkness. A figure stood up. His snow-white hair danced in the wind. He roared towards the sky, shaking the universe's reincarnation. The overturned heaven-sealing diagram was instantly sent flying while trembling by the roar. Kill! His eyes revealed a terrifying murderous intent, and the scene of 10,000 worlds collapsing appeared in his mind. The prehistoric Big Brother's battle blood was already burning in his body. A pair of cold eyes stared at the Sealed Heavens domain. He was like a supreme overlord with boundless power, causing the entire chaotic ruins to faintly tremble. He stood in the city of the Great Tao and punched out, piercing through the darkness. The peerless fist pressed down on the Sealed Heavens map, shattering time and space. It hit the end of the earth and bombarded the Sealed Heavens domain. Chapter 10:10. Darkness surged, covering one life domain after another, engulfing the land of chaos. That day, it was as if the end of the universe had arrived. The vast dark domain trembled and was in turmoil. Living beings died tragically, and the most powerful beings of the large domains were killed. This was a great disaster. They didn't know the source or the enemy. In short, this overbearing method of travel shocked all the powerful beings in the world. Even a Taoist temple couldn't do anything in a short time. Even the Sealed Heaven region sent out the Sealed Heaven diagram. This supreme treasure escaped into the darkness and was searching for the supreme giant, cooperating with the forces of the Yin-Yang Road to kill them all. Boom! However, there was a loud explosion, blasting away the black torrent and breaking the dam. Everything was so terrifying and unbelievable, shocking the world once again. The black torrent that filled the sky, covering hundreds of millions of miles, was enough to overturn the world, but in an instant, it collapsed and was destroyed. Oh my God! The gods were terrified. They trembled and had goosebumps all over their bodies. Roar! Countless cultivators also roared and recovered from despair. They had been reborn in the fight. Suddenly, The giants of the various clans were all horrified. What kind of power was this? What level of battle was this? What kind of war god was this? His aura swallowed millions and millions of li, sweeping through the darkness torrent, blasting apart the world of darkness. It's really, in the distant sky bamboo lineage, the clan was in an uproar. Zhu Yingkai, who had been detained and brought back to the clan, was still unconvinced. Why did she have to be thrown into the darkness? However, she was powerless to resist. This was the order of the Sky Bamboo Powerhouse, the supreme decree of the Sky Bamboo lineage. However, at this moment, in the direction of the Great Tao City, the darkness that covered hundreds of millions of miles collapsed. The moment a terrifying figure awakened, Zhu Yingkai was paralyzed and trembling on the ground. Even if the clan let her out, she wouldn't dare to go out for the rest of her life. The Sky Bamboo Powerhouse let out a cry of surprise in the chaos. He had underestimated the prehistoric Big Brother. It should be a serious underestimation. They weren't on the same level at all. Is that the heavens? In the vast primal chaos land, in the boundless world, everywhere was in an uproar. Countless experts lost control and shouted. Even the powerful experts could no longer sit still. Their eyes were filled with disbelief. One day, when the prehistoric Big Brother exploded, he would shock the world. In the Great Tao City, the cultivators who had their eyes on Su Yan were so scared that their legs turned to jelly. They fell to the ground and fainted. Su Xianren, someone lost control and cried out. Just where did this vicious trash come from? No wonder he didn't fear the clans of this world, not even caring about the life-restricted regions. Turns out there was a terrifying giant standing behind him. While they were looking down on Su Yan, they would never have thought that there was such a mighty giant who viewed them as mere ants. Master is mighty. King Kampa couldn't wait to tell the world about his relationship with Big Brother Prehistoric. He wanted to let them know that he had been taught by Big Brother Prehistoric. In any case, King Kampa felt that his path to becoming a powerful expert was set. What was an expert? What was a myth? What was a legend? And now, Big Brother Prehistoric's terrifying battle strength had perfectly illustrated all of this. He had even reached the pinnacle. This was a level that the world couldn't believe. Some people cried out, was this an ancient emperor? The boundless blood essence surged, burning with rage, causing the darkness that covered billions of miles to explode. He punched out, and the supreme treasure, the Fontian diagram, was sent flying by the force of his punch. This dark torrent began to collapse uncontrollably. This punch shocked the past, present, and future. It continued to explode, surging and terrifying. It even penetrated the vast primal chaos land and blasted towards the Fontian region. This is a taboo existence, a great taboo existence. The Fontian region will be erased from existence. Someone roared, his eyes full of fanaticism and madness. This was a taboo existence, a super expert that hadn't appeared in this epic. He was so mighty that even the powerful experts trembled in fear. Now he was domineering. Without a doubt, Big Brother Prehistoric had been enraged by the Fontian region's actions. The domineering punch caused the dome of the sky to collapse. A huge rift opened up, piercing through the sea of stars and reaching all the way to the ends of the land. Is the Fontian region going to be wiped out? That's terrifying. Fontian 2 was blown away by that punch. Fontian 2 is going to be hit by that punch. Can Fontian 2 withstand that punch? Perhaps there are such existences in the Fontian region as well. However, an old monster said something that shocked all the cultivators in the world. Could there be such terrifying existences in the Forbidden Zone as well? But why would such existences only exist in legends, not come out of seclusion? Could there be secrets or some other reason? Seal the mountain, quick! Even before the punch arrived, the entire Sealed Heaven region was already trembling. Everyone in the Sealed Heaven region was in a state of panic. The ancestral patriarchs of the Sealed Heaven region almost peed in their pants. They really thought that the Sealed Heaven region was going to collapse. However, before the old ancestors could finish their words, the punch had already arrived. It crossed the vast rivers and mountains and reached the ends of the earth. It was about to destroy the forbidden zone. Rumble. A loud explosion sounded. The Fontion region, which was condensed from the incomplete universe, shook violently. This once insufferably arrogant Fontion region, which used to look down on all the races in the universe, trembled. Countless cracks began to spread. The entire Fontion region was like a broken mirror about to collapse. However, the Fontion region was terrifying enough. It was worthy of being refined from the incomplete universe. It glowed on its own and repaired the cracks. At the same time, it vibrated with power to resist the punch of Big Brother Prehistoric. However, the Fontion region still couldn't withstand the punch. Boom! In the end, the sealed heaven domain reached its peak and a huge hole was opened. The supreme aura filled the air, enough to evaporate the sea of stars. The suns, moons, and stars in the sky exploded, and the suns were shattered into pieces. The punch of Big Brother Prehistoric was boundlessly terrifying. The sacred land of the Fontion region collapsed. The spirit spring dried up, and the essence of the world collapsed. The world ushered in destruction. The supreme aura surged. No matter how strong the Fontion region's foundation was, it still couldn't withstand the destructive energy. In the process of the impact, a large number of experts from the sealed heaven region didn't even have time to scream before their souls were extinguished. What could the old ancestors of the clans do? They trembled and wailed in extreme pain. It was extremely difficult for them to endure. At that moment, the experts of the sealed heaven region understood that they had provoked someone they shouldn't have. If that person came to their doorstep, the entire sealed heaven region would vanish into thin air. What kind of background? What kind of peak clan? There were nothing in front of this celestial being. The punch directly penetrated the ancestral court of the Fontion region, destroying more than half of its territory. A large number of experts died, and the foundation of the clans declined rapidly. Some of the big shots even exploded in despair. Kill! Another vague voice could be heard. The Supreme Overlord was about to launch a second punch to wipe out the entire realm of sealed heaven. Plop! All the experts of the Fontion region who were still alive knelt on the ground and kowtowed to the prehistoric Big Brother. They wailed and cried, begging for mercy. They wanted the prehistoric Big Brother to forgive them and stop killing. One more punch, and the Fontion region would definitely collapse, and an immortal forbidden zone would be completely wiped out. Some of the old ancestors of the Fontion region kowtowed to the prehistoric Big Brother, even though their heads were bleeding. Senior, please forgive us for our ignorance. Senior, please forgive us for our sins. They were really scared. Their faces were pale, and they were trembling. Some of them even peed their pants. They knew that once the prehistoric Big Brother came again, the Fontion region would vanish. They didn't care about the glory of their clans. They only cared about survival. However, the prehistoric Big Brother was ruthless. The Fontion region was destined to pay the price for angering the prehistoric Big Brother. His aura was released again, awakened, and spread. It was even more terrifying than before. He wanted to launch a second attack to wipe out the entire Fontion region. However, the shattered darkness suddenly began to reform. Boom! 18 large cracks rapidly enlarged and expanded. It was as if 18 regions were born. Black fog gushed out and filled the universe's sea of stars. Even the light of order was born in the darkness. It vaguely revealed a huge heavenly book of darkness that wanted to destroy the world. The supreme method of sealing the sky turned the vast territory into a purgatory. It wanted to forcibly suppress the prehistoric Big Brother's boundless source of life. Not good. Suyan's expression was grave. Something big was going to happen. The Yin-Yang Road knew how powerful the prehistoric Big Brother was. However, he didn't hesitate to reform it a second time. This was enough to show how powerful the Yin-Yang Road was. It had an unfathomable foundation. However, the prehistoric Big Brother became braver and fiercer as he fought. His pupils were filled with sharpness. Blazing light gushed out, illuminating the world and turning it into daytime. The vast darkness was about to be extinguished again. Kill! The prehistoric Big Brother's roar finally exploded. The reformed darkness once again welcomed the collapse. The blurry heavenly book was riddled with holes from the roar. The prehistoric Big Brother was so powerful that he could destroy the world. His entire body emitted a kind of heavenly might that rushed into the immortal sky and penetrated the 9 heavens and 10 earths. What heavens, what gods, what devils, what taboos! The universe would tremble at his feet. Any threat would be crushed with a punch. This was the prehistoric Big Brother's supreme attitude. He dominated the ancient times and looked down on the universe's reincarnation. He dominated one era after another and swept away the years. However, when the prehistoric Big Brother's aura violently reached this domain, the universe changed. In the end, the universe still welcomed an unforeseen event. Vaguely, in the vast ruins of chaos, in the magnificent world, a resplendent light suddenly appeared. This light beam actually made the entire land of chaos ruins shine brightly. What was that? The universe changed. It was very terrifying and came too suddenly. It emitted an energy that suppressed a portion of the universe's history. An extremely oppressive aura also swept over, making the heroes feel extremely uncomfortable. Many readers commented that these few pages were sloppy. Azure Sky really didn't realize at that time. I've been busy the whole day today. I was prepared to continue to update these 2 days. After all, I have double the monthly votes. However, from morning to night today, I deleted or changed the 8 chapters that I had written previously. My heart hurts so much that I can't breathe. It's not easy to write a book. There are always problems in writing that are difficult to change. It also requires a lot of time to think about the plot. Authors will think that what they write is the best. There are many things that they can't realize, neglect, and be careless. By the time you criticize, it's already too late. If every book was so perfect, it would be the best. Also, my astigmatism has been serious recently. I often see things when I look at the screen. I'm almost sticking to the screen to write. In the past 2 years, I haven't written at night because the light is too stimulating to the eyes. I'm a little short-sighted, so I can't write with glasses on. Nag a few words. Chapter 10-11. The sky is changing. The vast primal chaos ruins gradually turned gloomy. This was a sign of an impending storm, but the area affected was too far. Everyone was shocked. Soon, an extremely oppressive aura emerged from this gloomy world, causing the gods to tremble. They felt that the end of the universe was coming. The sun, moon, and stars in the sky were extremely resplendent. From this moment on, countless experts came out of seclusion and looked at the sky with solemn eyes. Then, they were all horrified. Even the giants of the various races felt their hands and feet turn cold. They felt that the universe was going to obliterate them. Almighty experts could suppress a corner of the universe with peerless divine might. But what was the current situation? The vast primal chaos ruins and the boundless universe seemed to be reviving. The sea of stars, the starry sky, the moons, and the huge stars were shining on their own. It was extremely brilliant. Boom! In an instant, the world welcomed a great change. The brilliant light was blazing as the boundless sea of stars became one. The universe regained its life and changed its aura, emitting a forbidden aura. The entire primal chaos ruins trembled as if the universe was collapsing. The world fell into complete darkness, as if it was going to undergo a cycle of reincarnation. Dark heavenly punishment. A great earthquake erupted. That was the terrifying energy of heavenly punishment. This kind of heavenly punishment didn't appear in the form of lightning, but a terrifying order and law. It affected far, far away. It seemed that with the descent of heavenly punishment, half of the primal chaos ruins would be destroyed. And all of this was targeted at the prehistoric Big Brother. At this moment, it was as if he was carrying the universe on his back. The aura he released was boiling and seemed to be on the verge of exploding. What kind of power was sweeping over? It wanted to defeat the prehistoric Big Brother and crush the taboo. It was unbelievable. Let's go. Bamboo Moon's expression changed. She pulled Su Yin and shouted, "Come with me." Big Brother is a taboo character. If his aura leaks out, the universe will obliterate him. Big Brother can't take care of us now. Let's go quick. Heavenly punishment. Big Brother's strength has caused the universe to be dissatisfied. It wants to destroy the heaven-defying expert. Is this the meaning of taboo? The universe doesn't allow such a giant to appear. This is the reason why the world has changed and the environment has changed. Could it be that all problems originate from the universe? Su Yin became nervous. Was the universe going to punish prehistoric Big Brother? Since time immemorial, what kind of existence could go against the universe? Although almighties could suppress a corner of the universe, when faced with the vast universe, there was only despair. When the divine punishment really appeared, all the cultivators in the Taoist temple were terrified. The clan's great figures were suffocating. Their hands and feet were cold, and someone lost control and said, "Something big is about to happen." Once the heavenly punishment descends, all life will die, and the world will walk towards extinction. The heavenly Tao is ruthless, and no one will be able to escape. The mighty figures of the Tao Palace all gasped. No one could do anything about it, and no one could affect the universe. Some of the Taoist temple cultivators even ordered, "Quick, move the entire clan away from the chaos ruins. Move immediately. Otherwise, the foundation of our Taoist temple will be destroyed." Inside the temple, all the disciples were terrified. Has the situation become so serious? Even the Taoist church, which dominated the primal chaos ruins, could not avoid disaster. They had to migrate. How serious were the consequences? If the taboo met with disaster, they would also suffer. It was so serious that it could threaten the life and death of the entire chaos ruins. The Taoist temple's great figures did not even know how terrifying this disaster would be. Even if they were affected, the various clans would suffer heavy losses. It was better to retreat first and wait for the disaster to disperse before returning. Boom! Blazing light began to flash in the universe. It was not just one layer, but trillions of layers. The entire world shook, and the chaos ruins were about to collapse. It was as if the power of trillions of layers of the universe had crossed the past, present, and future, and was heading towards this world to destroy the prehistoric Big Brother. Suddenly, as the trillions of living beings trembled in fear, a thunderous roar rang out. It was a suppressed figure. Suddenly, divine light shone brightly, carrying the light of immortality. It approached from afar, as if it was standing in front of trillions of beings. Plop! Countless people fell to their knees in worship. The prehistoric Big Brother was too terrifying. It was as if his body had split into trillions to protect the entire chaos ruins and countless beings. His power became more and more ferocious. Even with the suppression of the universe on his back, the prehistoric Big Brother was still peerlessly domineering. Stepping on the universe's great Tao, he created an unimaginable crack that cut across the heavens and earth. What kind of terrifying courage was this? To split the heavens and earth and forcefully change the path of the universe's heavenly punishment. "Big Brother, be careful," Su Yin shouted, because the prehistoric Big Brother had gone far away. He was like a great emperor star that rushed to the peak of the universe and reached the end of the universe. He escaped into the boundless chaos and disappeared from the eyes of the people. He was going to transcend the tribulation in a place so far away that no one could trace him. He would bear the suppression of the universe and not let the people suffer with him. The figure of the Overlord in the eyes of the people became more and more indistinct. The Taoist temple's experts heaved a sigh of relief. This god was worried about the people of the world and had forcefully changed the path of the universe's heavenly punishment. This was because he knew that once this heavenly punishment struck down, the chaos ruins would collapse in the 100 great domains, and it might even continue for a very long time. This kind of loss and karma was something that even the prehistoric Big Brother could not bear. What on earth happened? Who can tell me? there were still many people who were in the dark. They did not know what had happened and why the sky had changed so suddenly. No one could answer him. There were too many people who did not know the inside story. All these storms started from the great Tao city. They started to spread throughout the entire chaos ruins. In one night, it was like a tsunami had bombarded the 9 heavens and swept across the entire chaos ruins, shocking everyone in the world. What kind of joke is this? The sealed heaven region was almost destroyed? That is the forbidden zone of life. How dare you slander the sealed heaven region? Are you out of your mind? Aren't you afraid that the sealed heaven region will settle the score with you? It's true. The sealed heaven region was really blasted into a big hole. The sealed heaven region angered the forbidden zone, which almost tore the entire sealed heaven region apart in its fury. Many people did not believe the cruel reality of the sealed heaven region's collapse. However, more and more news came, causing a huge earthquake. The experts of the 10,000 races trembled. The impact of this matter was too terrifying. The root of everything was serene. The Han family suffered heavy losses. The top great Tao Saint weapon of the sky, bamboo bloodline, was taken away. 2 powerful experts of the sealed heaven region died. This was a huge matter that was filled with legends. It was bloody and vicious. It spread throughout the chaos ruins. However, no matter how this news spread, the Han family was silent. The sky bamboo bloodline was silent. There was no response. This matter was a bit shocking. When a matter of the forbidden zone spread, it caused the 10,000 races to panic. In one night, news spread that there was a domain that was even more terrifying than powerful experts. The backer that Serene brought out was the forbidden zone. It had killed too many experts. It was earth-shattering. The 10,000 races were in an uproar. On the Great Tao battle platform, Suyin blew up a Master Realm expert. His fame spread far and wide. Various geniuses rushed to the Great Tao city. This change also started from here. It could be said that the sky and earth were turned upside down. A huge hole was blasted through a forbidden zone of life. The ancestral core of that race was almost swept away. In short, the losses of the sealed heaven region were too heavy. Their foundation declined greatly. If it wasn't for the universe's divine punishment, the sealed heaven region would definitely be wiped from the world. Forbidden zone, an unfamiliar word, caused the entire universe to become restless. There was even news that spread out. The change in the chaos ruins many years ago was caused by this forbidden zone. He might be one of the ancestors of the buried region. Oh my God. The root of all this was caused by Madman Su. This is a huge calamity. The sealed heaven region's foundation was greatly damaged. I don't even dare to believe what happened in the Great Tao city. Unfortunately, we didn't see it with our own eyes. What a pity. Just a forbidden zone of life was almost wiped out. This matter already made the rulers of the various races tremble. Suyin was listed as someone they couldn't offend. However, before the truth of the matter came to light, the various races didn't dare to act rashly or jump to conclusions. The Han family, the sealed heaven region, and the heavenly bamboo bloodline were extremely silent. In fact, the heavenly bamboo bloodline could stand out and say something. After all, the 5-colored war flag of their race had fallen into the hands of Bamboo Moon. However, the heavenly bamboo powerhouse passed down a decree that this matter should end here. There was no need to investigate further. Suyin, come back to the heavenly bamboo bloodline with me. Bamboo Moon hesitated for a long time before saying, "My clan's heavenly bamboo ancestor came and met with my big brother. It's safest for you to come back to the family with me. I'm worried that someone will make a move on you. Even the sealed heaven region won't have a good ending." What do you mean? Suyin was also anxious and uneasy. If Big Brother Prehistoric met with a calamity because of this, he would not be able to bear the consequences. This was the killing trap he had drawn. However, he did not expect that the Yin-Yang Road would suddenly interfere and cause Big Brother Prehistoric to reveal his strength. If the universe wanted to kill his big brother, would his big brother be able to withstand it? Suyin didn't know. He looked into the universe from time to time. However, his big brother journey to resist the heavenly punishment was too far away. It wasn't something that Su Yin could observe. He could only be anxious. You don't know how tempting the life Forbidden Zone is. The sealed heaven region has existed for millions of years. It's one of the biggest winners in the struggle for hegemony. Bamboo Moon said softly. The clan's foundation is unfathomable. Just Xiaoming alone could easily take out hundreds of drops of cosmic mother liquid. It's enough to see that the clan even has immortal Tao substance. You mean to say that the current decline of the sealed heaven region will attract many times the number of enemies to deal with me? Su Yan's eyes suddenly shrunk. He was thinking, would the sealed heaven region be destroyed because of this? That's right. There's no need to doubt this at all. Bamboo Moon nodded slightly and said solemnly, even if our heavenly bamboo bloodline is in decline, it will still arouse the greed of a group of powerhouses. They will call their friends and join forces with various fierce people to attack us. Chapter 10:12. The Chaos Ruins is a place full of hidden dragons and crouching tigers. Giants run amok. Similarly, there are also almighty experts whose lifespans have dried up. They will definitely give up everything before they die and fight for a future. The current situation in the sealed heaven region is too tempting for them. There will definitely be people who can't sit still. It's not that easy. If Big Brother had used the second punch, he might have really collapsed the sealed heaven region. Unfortunately, he only used the first move and the universe's heavenly punishment sensed it. What? There are so many almighty experts in your clan? 6 or 7 of them. This had completely exceeded Su Yan's understanding of the foundations of the various large tribes. If an ordinary tribe had an almighty overseeing it, it would have already surpassed the top tribes and would be able to stand on equal footing with the overlords. The sealed heaven region is definitely stronger than my clan, Bamboo Moon said with great certainty. This clan occupies the incomplete universe and tempers it into a unique life domain. If the experts really seal themselves, they will live for an extremely long time. Bamboo Moon's words had a great impact on Su Yan. He couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. Their clans had old monsters who had lived for hundreds of thousands of years. In fact, the sealed heaven region had even more old monsters who had lived for an even longer time. Of course, Bamboo Moon didn't know how many almighty experts there were in the sealed heaven region. This was the strength of the life Forbidden Zone. It was too terrifying beyond Su Yan's understanding. If other clans knew about this, they would probably be in despair. The strength of the previous winners of the resource lands would completely stupefy them. Bamboo Moon clenched her slender hands. She said with a worried face, the universe's heavenly punishment won't end easily. Even if it can't suppress Big Brother, it will make your foundation suffer. It will be difficult for you to come out in a short period of time. It might even be impossible for you to come out in your lifetime. Although they don't dare to openly target you because of Big Brother, don't forget. Bamboo Moon smiled bitterly and said, the secret techniques that Big Brother passed on to you and even passed on to me are the most important things. That's what they want. Bamboo Moon's expression was solemn. She was worried that someone would take the opportunity to take advantage of prehistoric Big Brother being suppressed by the universe. If he were to make a move on Su Yan, it would be enough to make him feel despair. That's hard to say. If we can be careful now, we must be careful. We can't be careless. Even in the near future, the universe will undergo great changes and the environment will be rewritten. If this day really came, what would the universe become like? Su Yan could not think of any other powerful beings other than the taboo that would make Big Brother prehistoric rush over to kill them. Bamboo Moon had no choice but to say these words. Her pair of limpid eyes looked at Su Yan. From Su Yan, she saw great potential. She hoped that in the future, Su Yan could stand up. Otherwise, what awaited him would be a broken body and crushed bones. He didn't even want to hear bad news about Su Yan in the universe one day. However, would time be given to Su Yan? In a few decades, Su Yan could step into the absolute king realm. It was already a terrifying cultivation speed. In just a few decades, what realm could Su Yan grow to? Bamboo Moon did not dare to imagine sometimes. Let me talk to you about something serious. I know I'm in a lot of trouble. Su Yin smiled bitterly. Hearing this, Su Yin said in a deep voice, I don't know why I'm in so much trouble. Ever since my identity was exposed, I've been hunted endlessly. I also want to know why they're chasing after me. The Ancestral Hall and the Dark Nether Race. These two groups were chasing after Su Yin. He had experienced too many life and death situations, and Su Yin had also made it out alive. Of course, this time, if Su Yin did not know that the prehistoric Big Brother was a heaven-defying person, he would not have swaggered through the streets of the great Tao City. Su Yin's eyes were like lightning. His long black hair fluttered as he said coldly, They want to kill me to establish their power because they have enough confidence and have the support of a peak clan. Our Zhongyu race is already in danger. We are strong on the outside, but weak on the inside. The Milky Way galaxy will be destroyed at any time. Otherwise, how much hatred would it have lasted for millions of years? He felt that it was a taboo to stare at the Zhongyu race. Was it because of the snow mountain heavenly coffin? What kind of secrets did she have? She really wanted to go back to her family and ask if their race still existed. They only had 1,000 years of lifespan, even if it was 10,000 years. How could this not make people despair? The universe was like a game of chess, and the gods were all chess pieces. If they wanted to jump out of the game, their final goal was the taboo. Could it be that the future change of our race is related to the taboo? Bamboo Moon's thoughts flew. She felt that sooner or later, the taboo would appear again. Once this chaotic era came, the universe would not be the same as before. Su Yin, if we don't kill him, are we going to let him rise? The Divine Firmament sect and the other factions also had a great change. They had a great feud with Su Yin. If he did not die, they would not be at ease. However, they could send experts to hunt him down. They were afraid of the prehistoric Big Brother. The tragic situation of the Zhongyu race was a bloody example. They knew how powerful Su Yin was. Ordinary people could not do anything to him. Roar! A bone-piercing, killing intent rippled, and a world-burning anger was born. Su Yin, killing you 10,000 times is not enough. When I find you, I will make you kneel in my ancestral land and repent for thousands of generations. This incident caused a stir and quickly spread. It was almost confirmed that the Zhongyu race had suffered a heavy blow. The ancestral land of the Zhongyu race was originally hundreds of millions of miles away. However, this vast region had lost the supreme deterrence of the Zhongyu race. That was because the current Zhongyu race, this condensed and incomplete universe, had a huge hole that was difficult to heal. What did this mean? Boo-hoo! Cries could be heard from the Zhongyu race from time to time. The losses of the Zhongyu race were beyond the expectations of the outside world. Even 2 of the race's mighty figures had died. This was only the number of confirmed deaths. However, when the prehistoric Big Brother bombarded the Zhongyu race, several mighty figures had died in the Zhongyu race. Baidu Search Xing 81 Chinese Network O. No advertising message. Chapter 10:13. The chaos ruins were in chaos. The tragedy of the sealed heaven region shocked all the major clans, and the matter of the Forbidden Universe's heavenly punishment was not settled yet. Even some of the major clans who were weak were ready to make a move. In short, the world was filled with panic. It was not the world they were familiar with anymore. Some people felt that something big would happen in the next few days. Some people even made a bold guess that once the Forbidden Universe survived the universe's heavenly punishment, they might even go to the sealed heaven region to settle the score. In short, the storm was incessant, and the trigger of this matter was Su Yin. Now, he was extremely worried about the danger of the prehistoric Big Brother, and even where to go. This gave Su Yin a headache. Who is it? Su Yin frowned. Someone was spying on them in the dark, and the faintly discernible strong aura made Su Yin tense up. Was it really like what Bamboo Moon said, that someone could not help but want to make a move on him? Was it because of the forbidden matter? Su Yan's words made Bamboo Moon instantly alert. Just now, her mind was in a mess, and she did not pay much attention to this world. Her eyes of the universe faintly opened, and the five-colored flag floating between her eyebrows flowed down streaks of five-color divine light, containing the saint's might, and could explode with a destructive attack at any time. "Come out!" Su Yin shouted, and his eyes stared at the space in front of him without blinking. He felt that there was a huge monster hiding in there. In an instant, his aura skyrocketed, and the human-shaped puppet merged with it. Strands of vast aura of gods and demons filled the area. Su Yan's spiritual sense was extremely strong, and mainly because his primordial spirit cultivation was close to the divine kings. Moreover, Su Yin cultivated the Sutra of Future and had a deep understanding of the essence of the changes in space. Although there were very few experts spying on them in the dark, Su Yin still caught some ripples. A burst of hearty laughter came from the space Su Yin was staring at. "Ha ha! Your primordial spirit is really strong. I've just arrived, and you've already discovered me. No wonder you're the young Overlord who killed the master of the Han family on the Dao battle platform." Bamboo Moon breathed a sigh of relief. From a voice, she knew who it was. She was really worried that someone was secretly watching Su Yin and would make a move on him at the critical moment. Buzz. The deep space in front of him was filled with divine light amidst the rumbling sounds. It was as if a great sun was flowing out from within, causing the space to tremble and the sun and moon to lose their light. The resplendent figure was like a giant golden dragon awakening. His blood essence was too exuberant, without the slightest sign of decline. There was even a resplendent light of order erupting, vaguely outlining a complete universe. Su Yin was shocked. His eyes stared at the old man who walked out from the void. The old man was full of energy and didn't show any signs of decline. He couldn't help but exude an immense pressure. It was as if he had turned into a supreme giant. "What's the matter? Don't you recognize me?" The golden figure was smiling with a kind expression. He even restrained the might that was leaking out of his body as he spoke to Su Yin with a smile. Su Yin cursed in his heart. This old thing was really good at changing his face. It was as if he was an old acquaintance of Su Yan's. Although Su Yin was dissatisfied, this old man was still too strong. He walked up and said, "I didn't expect to meet Elder Yuanqing here. I see that Elder Yuanqing's strength is stronger than before. Congratulations, Elder." "Ha ha ha, you're too polite. The road to becoming an almighty is still a long way off for me. I still need some time." Zhu Yuanqing laughed loudly. There was a hint of pride in his eyes. He was full of confidence. Otherwise, he wouldn't have said such a thing. Su Yin was unhappy, but Zhu Yuanqing's strength was stronger than before. He didn't even show signs of aging. He was really a peak existence in the realm of half-step almighties. Moreover, Zhu Yuanqing had taken another small step towards becoming an almighty. Su Yin was really shocked. This old man's potential was really good. However, if Zhu Yuanqing were to be compared to Xiaohou, could he beat Grandpa Xiaohou? "What are you doing here?" Bamboo Moon didn't give Zhu Yuanqing any face. This old thing had made things difficult for her many times. Moreover, Zhu Yuanqing had also made things difficult for her in the Sky Bamboo lineage. Zhu Yuanqing wasn't angry. He smiled and changed his attitude. He said in a friendly tone, "Bamboo Moon, you've been away from the family for a long time. The old ancestors in the family miss you very much. They hope that you can return to the family now. It's time to think about the road to becoming a king." Su Yin frowned slightly. Zhu Yuanqing's attitude toward Bamboo Moon had changed greatly. Could it be because of the five-colored war flag? After all, this item was the sacred weapon of the Almighty of the clan. It was even the top treasure of the clan. The Sky Bamboo lineage naturally attached great importance to it. In the past, when the Sky Bamboo Almighty had come to ask for it, the prehistoric Big Brother had directly given it to Bamboo Moon. The Sky Bamboo Almighty didn't say anything. The five-colored war flag had even merged with Bamboo Moon's aura. This item already belonged to Bamboo Moon. Could it be that the Sky Bamboo lineage wanted to take it back by force? "My big brother gave us some things to do. I'll return after I'm done. The Sky Bamboo old ancestor also knows about this. Didn't he tell you?" Bamboo Moon's casual words made Zhu Yuanqing's body tremble. He was glad that he hadn't gone to the Great Path City with Zhu Yinkai because he wanted to break through the road to becoming an almighty. With his temper and his relationship with Su Yin, Zhu Yuanqing couldn't wait to make things difficult for the experts of the burial realm. If he had really done that, Zhu Yuanqing didn't dare to imagine what would have happened to him. He might have already turned into a pile of ashes. The Sky Bamboo Almighty had also given the order to kill the 3 elders of the clan. They had only themselves to blame. The Sky Bamboo lineage was already lucky that the prehistoric Big Brother didn't target them back then. If he had really done that, the Sealed Heaven region would have been even more miserable. Oh, what's the matter? Zhu Yuanqing suppressed the lingering fear in his heart and asked calmly. Bamboo Moon shook her head, indicating that she couldn't tell him. Zhu Yuanqing's face darkened. However, he didn't dare to ask too much about the Sky Bamboo Almighty. He smiled and said, "Is it something important?" Bamboo Moon, my clan Sky Bamboo Mountain will open soon. You have to consider the pros and cons. Sky Bamboo Mountain. Bamboo Moon's expression changed slightly. Only the legacy disciples of the Sky Bamboo lineage knew what Sky Bamboo Mountain was. It could be said that it was one of the ancestral grounds of the clan that had been passed down for millions of years. Every time it opened, the young experts of the Sky Bamboo lineage would enter to try their luck. Bamboo Moon, Su Yin said to her, if there's something important, don't delay it. There's no hurry in what Big Brother asked me to do. Moreover, I still need Big Brother to complete the cosmic heavenly punishment before I can complete it. Zhu Yuanqing's eyelids twitched violently. However, he didn't dare to ask. That was a taboo matter. In short, Zhu Yuanqing wouldn't provoke the taboo, even if he was beaten to death. The Sealed Heaven region was a bloody fact. Bamboo Moon frowned slightly. She knew that Su Yin didn't want her to follow him. The latter was afraid that he would encounter an unforeseen change and implicate her. Ha, little friend Su Yin, I wonder if there's anything that my Sky Bamboo lineage can do for you? Zhu Yuanqing's face was full of enthusiasm as he said, actually, if there's no hurry, you can come to my Sky Bamboo lineage as a guest. Su Yin didn't expect Zhu Yuanqing to be so shameless as to invite him. However, he had a taboo behind him, so he wasn't surprised by Zhu Yuanqing's words. I hope that you can come with me and hide for a while. There are always some terrifying old monsters in this world that might be able to spy on your tracks. However, if you stay in the ancestral grounds of the Sky Bamboo lineage, even the Almighty won't be able to divine your whereabouts. Bamboo Moon transmitted her voice. Previously, she wanted Su Yin to go with her to the Sky Bamboo lineage. Although Su Yin was in big trouble, the Sky Bamboo lineage would never anger a taboo. Su Yin was hesitant. He was worried that some people in the Sky Bamboo lineage would have bad intentions. Trust me, even if you encounter danger, I will be able to protect you. There are too many variables in the Chaos Ruins. Something big will definitely happen. You're the root of it. If you can avoid danger, then don't. Bamboo Moon looked deeply at Su Yin. She was peerlessly beautiful, graceful, and elegant. Her snow-white skin was overflowing with color. She didn't know if she would still be able to say these words in the future. However, Bamboo Moon was confident that she could stay in the family and help Su Yin avert a disaster. Bamboo Moon's gaze made it impossible for Su Yin to refuse. He said to Zhu Yuanqing, since the Great Elder has invited me, how can I refuse? Before I leave, I need to make a trip to the Cosmos Business Alliance and inform King Kanpa of some important matters. I need to let him know where I'm going so that Big Brother won't be able to find me when he comes. Inform King Kanpa? Zhu Yuanqing's face was full of shock. He thought to himself, is this kid crazy? I, King Kanpa, am the chief steward of the Tao Temple's outer sect. Elder, you don't know. Bamboo Moon stood up and explained, King Kanpa is Big Brother's in-name disciple. When he steps into the Almighty Realm, he will become an official disciple. According to seniority, Su Yin is his martial uncle. Zhu Yuanqing almost fell to the ground. His face and neck were red. Su Yin was King Kanpa's martial uncle? He really wanted to say, are you all teaming up to tease me? Bamboo Moon even said that King Kampa could only become the prehistoric Big Brother's in-name disciple after he stepped into the almighty realm. This made Zhu Yuanqing doubt his life. All right then. Zhu Yuanqing's face was not normal. He felt that inviting Su Yin to the family was a mistake. The family really didn't want to get into big trouble. If they could avoid it, then they would. After all, the family had no enmity with the burial realm. Just like that, the group went to the Great Path City. Since Zhu Yuanqing came to the Great Path auction house, King Kampa naturally received him personally. When they were about to reach the private room, Su Yin, who had been silent all this time, told Zhu Yuanqing not to go in. It was taboo, and he shouldn't eavesdrop. Zhu Yuanqing wasn't surprised, but King Kampa was dumbfounded. Who was this brat? Why did he look so arrogant? Why did he ask Zhu Yuanqing to wait outside? When they arrived at the private room, Su Yin changed his appearance. King Kampa was stunned for a long time before he asked, "Brat, don't tell me you're going to the Sky Bamboo branch? At this juncture, you must hide and lie low. Come, follow me to the Tao Temple. If I hide in the Tao Temple, I think the whole world will know about it by the next day." Su Yin's words made King Kampa smile awkwardly. Su Yin was right. There were many people in the Tao Temple, but the Sky Bamboo branch was different. Due to the taboo, there wouldn't be much danger. Su Yin waved his sleeves and threw out a pile of divine weapons. King Kampa's face twitched. He was shocked. The Divine King had at least a dozen weapons. There were also 5 life-bound divine weapons that were refined by half-step almighties. These were all good things that Su Yin had plundered from the battlefield. "What do you want?" King Kampa asked. "You know." Su Yin sat down and drank a cup of spirit tea. He was uneasy. His big brother was gone, and he didn't know if he was dead or alive. Su Yin was worried. Similarly, there were undercurrents in the Chaos Ruins. Bamboo Moon's words were correct. Indeed, Su Yin had to be very careful. He had to hide if he could. However, where could he go in the Chaos Ruins? Although Bamboo Moon said that she could protect Su Yin still had to be prepared. Su Yin also found it a pity that the dragon totem hadn't moved for a long time. If the dragon totem had recovered to its peak state, Su Yin wouldn't have to worry. After all, the dragon totem had killed the Ancestral Hall's ancestral blessing with a single punch. Su Yin had a certain level of confidence with the sect's killer weapon protecting him. However, Su Yin needed more confidence now. "Kid, you really know how to cause trouble for me. On account of Master, I'll go all out." King Kampa's face was as black as the bottom of a pot. However, he disappeared without a trace in a flash. Su Yin scratched his head. With King Kampa's status, he believed that he would have an extremely strong protective item. After all, the various treasures he took out were already worth a lot. Why haven't they come out yet? Zhu Yuanqing, who was outside the door, was anxious. It had been almost 2 hours. Why hadn't they come out yet? Zhu Yuanqing was so anxious that he wanted to push the door open. What were they doing? "Elder, don't worry." Bamboo Moon smiled and said, before Big Brother left, he gave Su Yin a Tao map. Before he left, he told him to give this map to King Kampa. It will pave the way for him to become a mighty figure. When Zhu Yuanqing heard this, his eyes turned red. A Tao map could pave the way for him to become a mighty figure. Chapter 3. There's one more chapter at night. After the last New Year, I said that I owed everyone 20 chapters and that I would finish it in March. I feel that there's no suspense at the end of the month. I still owe 8 chapters. I'll try to finish it ahead of time. Chapter 10:14. When Bamboo Moon saw Zhu Yuanqing's envious look, she snickered in her heart. She thought to herself, "After making things difficult for me so many times, I can finally retaliate." As for the private room, Su Yin waited patiently. King Kampa left for half a day before returning. There was still some cold sweat on his forehead, which made Su Yin ask strangely, "What happened to you?" "What do you mean, what happened?" King Kampa swaggered and sat down. With a wave of his sleeve, an ancient beast's skin landed on the table. The beast's skin was not unfolded, and Su Yin was slightly stunned when he saw it. He unfolded the beast's skin, and it was as if he was unfolding a magnificent universe. The unparalleled fluctuations were about to collapse the entire private room. Su Yin was shocked. and he quickly put away the beast's skin. This was a treasure left behind by a mighty figure, and it was extremely valuable. Su Yin guessed that this beast skin should belong to a half-step mighty figure. The mighty figure had left a terrifying mark on it, and once it was used, its power would be terrifying. A mighty figure's killing move, King Kampa said. It's equivalent to a mighty figure suppressing with one hand. This item is extremely valuable, and it can be called a pinnacle treasure. A half-step mighty figure will die with a touch, and it can even resist a mighty figure's strength. You want to make a deal with a mighty figure? Su Yin was a little surprised. Otherwise, why would King Kampa be so scared that his forehead was covered in cold sweat? Otherwise, where would I go to get such a good treasure for you? King Kampa took out 3 golden talismans. Su Yin looked at them and put them away solemnly. These 3 golden talismans were a kind of boundary-breaking talisman that could break through a domain. They were very valuable and could open a spatial crack that ran through a large domain. Thank you, Su Yin said solemnly. Don't thank me. Next time, don't always look for me for such things. King Kampa's face was fierce. He had gone to make a deal with a powerful being and had received quite a shock during the process. After all, he had to haggle with a powerful being and had incurred their displeasure. Fortunately, King Kampa was also used to seeing big scenes. Otherwise, it would have been extremely difficult for him to take it away from the Almighty. Taking away the 3 boundary-breaking talismans, King Kampa felt that this transaction was very worthwhile. After all, the beast skin painting was carved with the blood and sweat of a mighty figure. It contained a killing move of a mighty figure and was enough to be passed down as a legacy treasure of the tribe. Zhu Yuanqing, who was waiting anxiously outside the door, finally saw the door open. Zhu Yuanqing regained his composure in an instant. He looked at King Kampa and wanted to say, "Can I have a look at the Great Tao map that the taboo left behind for you?" Before this, Zhu Yuanqing had clearly sensed the aura of a mighty figure in the box. Bamboo Moon hadn't lied to him. His eyes began to heat up. Haha, Elder Yuanqing. Although King Kampa found Zhu Yuanqing's gaze strange, he didn't ask too much. He smiled and said, "My martial uncle Su is going to the Sky Bamboo lineage. I will have to trouble Elder Yuanqing." No problem, no problem," Zhu Yuanqing hurriedly said. He was thinking about how to ask for it, but this didn't seem too good. "Martial uncle, take care. Big brother said that he has something important to do. When you are done, come back as soon as possible." God King Kongbo said to Su Yin passionately. His face was filled with reluctance. Zhu Yuanqing couldn't take it anymore. No matter what, he was still a god king. He despised King Kampa in his heart. In order to curry favor with his prehistoric big brother, he had really put in a lot of effort. However, Zhu Yuanqing was very envious of King Kampa. Damn, how did this old thing suddenly become the taboo's in-name disciple? Could it be that in the future, an almighty powerhouse would come out of the Tao Temple? Thinking of this, Zhu Yuanqing asked Su Yin about his well-being. His old face was like a blooming wild chrysanthemum. He wanted to build a friendship with Su Yin. Bamboo Moon was very curious. What benefits did Su Yin give to King Kampa? Su Yin still felt the pinch in his heart. He had asked King Kampa to help him, but this old guy had opened his mouth and asked for 10 drops of Cosmic Mother liquid. Su Yin also knew that King Kampa urgently needed this kind of resources to make up for the deficiencies in his previous cultivation. Su Yin didn't need the Cosmic Mother liquid now. Moreover, his family still had a big lake of Cosmic Mother liquid. "Martial uncle, take care. Have a safe trip." King Kampa walked him all the way to the door, causing the people in the auction house to be surprised. Where did King Kampa's martial uncle come from? His master had passed away for some time. Zhu Yuanqing scratched his head. He really couldn't fawn over Su Yin like King Kampa. Should I be a matchmaker? Zhu Yuanqing's mind was active. The first person he thought of was Bamboo Moon. However, with Bamboo Moon's talent and appearance, she had a better choice. Su Yan's identity was different now. He had the support of the taboo behind him. However, the Burial Realm clan was still too troublesome. Zhu Yuanqing led them to the Great Tao City, the great Tao food residence of the sky bamboo lineage. There was a spatial cross-domain teleportation array that could directly cross to the sky bamboo lineage's territory. Along the way, Zhu Yuanqing was conflicted. He didn't know what to say. However, his attitude towards Su Yin was very warm. He even told Su Yin many things about the pros and cons of cultivating in the Tianxin mystic realm. A peak half-step almighty expert imparted his cultivation realm to Su Yin without holding back. This was very beneficial for Su Yin. An expert was an expert. Moreover, Zhu Yuanqing was the sky bamboo lineage's great elder. In terms of cultivation realm, there weren't many experts of the same generation who could compare to him. What did you say to him? Su Yin glanced at Zhu Yu from the corner of his eyes. Seeing that the latter was smiling without saying anything, Su Yin shook his head slightly. However, he felt that Zhu Yu had changed a little during this period of time with her. She now had the playfulness and cuteness of a little woman. Su Yin also asked questions boldly. It had to be said that Su Yin gained a lot. After an entire day and night, he gained a lot of valuable experience. 1. Early in the morning, the spatial array stabilized. Before Su Yin could see the surroundings, Zhu Yuanqing waved his sleeve. A huge bronze chariot appeared in the sky. It was filled with a barbaric aura. 9 black flood dragons covered in chaotic light leaped out. They pulled the bronze chariot, causing the void to rumble. What a joke! The sky bamboo lineage's great elder was very ostentatious. 9 divine flood dragons pulled the chariot, carrying Su Yin and Bamboo Moon away from a bustling ancient city. Soon, they arrived at a vast and majestic mountain range. This was definitely a rare, famous mountain range. It was magnificent with clouds and rosy clouds. Between the mountains and rivers, there were often rumbling sounds. That is, Su Yan's eyes suddenly shrank. There was a trace of surprise in his eyes as he saw the bronze chariot heading towards a magnificent mountain. It was shaped like a living thing, spitting out a vast tide of life. Faintly, there were true dragons, immortal phoenixes, vague creatures, and strange plants appearing between the heaven and earth. Without a doubt, this was a peerless treasure ground nurtured by the heavens. The mountain was sentient, absorbing the essence of the sun and moon to grow. Greetings, great elder. At this time, an ancient space-time tunnel opened at the peak of the mountain. 2 divine king powerhouses walked out and greeted each other at the entrance of the tunnel. The bronze chariot rampaged forward, directly rushing into the space-time tunnel. When he arrived at the center, Su Yin was really shocked. It was as if he had entered the core region of the universe. A boundless aura of life surged through every inch of space, nurturing all life. This place was like a divine paradise in the legends. The aura of life here was vast. Even if one didn't cultivate, they could still live a long life, strengthen the body, and be free from disease and calamity. Before Su Yin could pay attention, the bronze chariot had already traveled far away. This was the ancestral land of the sky bamboo lineage. It was built on a peerless layout, and the ancestral land had been perfected by generations of sky bamboo powerhouses. This place was truly a small world. Zhu Yuanqing was worried that someone would discover Su Yin. In order to avoid too many eyes, the bronze chariot directly rushed into the depths. Along the way, Su Yin found a few ancient cities where mortals and cultivators lived together. They were all members of the sky bamboo lineage. When the chariot reached the depths, Su Yan's heart was filled with astonishment. The aura of life was more than 10 times denser than before. It was truly on the verge of turning into liquid. Whenever he breathed, his body would emit multicolored light. This was too heaven-defying. This was the powerful foundation of a group of peak overlords. No wonder their race was so terrifying. The bronze chariot drove into a pure land filled with clouds and multicolored light and stopped. In an instant, dozens of multicolored lights danced in all directions. They were the experts of the sky bamboo lineage flying over. When Bamboo Moon walked out of the bronze chariot, she was startled. These experts were all senior elders of the sky bamboo lineage who held great authority. Their statuses were extremely high, and they usually had a subtle relationship with her. However, their faces were filled with enthusiasm. Bamboo Moon thought that it was impossible for them to be here because of the five-colored war flag. It should be because of something else. Could it be related to the sky bamboo powerhouses? Someone noticed Su Yin. Su Yin immediately stepped forward and bowed to them. Junior Su Yin greets the elders. The energy fluctuations in the area were intense. The senior elders of the sky bamboo lineage had a drastic change in expression. Why was this jinx here? Su Xianren. The first thought that appeared in their minds was, why did this lunatic Su Xianren come to their sky bamboo lineage? How much confidence does he need to be so confident? I invited Su Yin to my clan as a guest, said Zhu Yuanqing with a smile. The senior elders cursed in their hearts. You old thing. Why did you bring Su Yin, this jinx, here for no reason? Don't you know how big of a problem he's in? The tragic state of the sealed heaven region sent chills down their spines. F***CK. Wails could be heard from the broken sealed heaven region every day. How many experts have died in this clan? It seemed as if this had just happened. However, the source of this incident, Su Xianren, had come to the sky bamboo lineage. This made them feel as if they were plotting against a tiger. All right, all of you are dismissed. Don't spread the news that Su Yin has come to our clan as a guest. Zhu Yuanqing could not be bothered to say more to them. He instructed them and smiled at Bamboo Moon. Bamboo Moon, go to the forbidden area. As for Su Yin, come with me. Bamboo Moon was puzzled. The forbidden area was the dojo of the sky bamboo lineage's patriarch. Even ordinary Zhu Yuanqing could not enter. When she saw the enthusiastic faces around her, Bamboo Moon thought that something big must have happened in the clan. This world of surging clouds was full of auspicious signs. Su Yin looked in all directions. He could capture the prosperity and glory of the heavenly bamboo lineage. This was the overlord of the primal chaos wasteland, a giant that looked down on the 10,000 races of the universe. In this vast, small world, an extremely terrifying might of the heavenly bamboo lineage was gathered. As an outsider, Su Yin felt a lot of pressure. He followed Zhu Yuanqing to a forest garden. As soon as they arrived, delicious delicacies and superior divine wine were already being delivered to them. There was even a group of women who came with them. Their snow-white skin was draped in light muslin, and they had sweet smiles on their faces. Each of them had a wonderful figure and a seductive fragrance. They were very beautiful and alluring. Little friend, please sit here for a while. This old man will be back soon. Zhu Yuanqing directly left, leaving behind a group of smiling beauties. At this moment, Su Yin felt as if he had stepped into a gentle dream. What is this old thing doing? Su Yin was a little overwhelmed. These 6 beauties were well endowed and had excellent temperaments. It was rare to see them in the outside world. Chapter 10:15. In the garden, the fragrance of flowers filled the air, and laughter that sounded like silver bells echoed. These 6 beauties had graceful figures. They wore light veils and were dressed in the same way. This scene was extremely seductive. If one were to be in the middle of them, it would be as if one had fallen into a gentle dream. A woman picked up a wine pot and poured wine for Su Yin. At the same time, she stole a glance at Su Yin, and a hint of shyness appeared on her face. Thank you, Mississippi. Su Yin thanked her and invited them to take a seat. Su Yin, who had seen all kinds of life, had a certain understanding of these women. They did not have much experience in the world. They were young, but their cultivations were impressive. They were all cultivators at the Great Tao realm. If these young women were placed in any star region in the universe, they would be considered extraordinary geniuses. You're too polite, young master. The woman who poured wine for Su Yin covered her mouth and laughed. Elder Yuanqing said that an important guest has come to our tribe. I didn't expect the important guest to be so young. That's quite a shock. I can't afford to be an important guest. Su Yin smiled. This is also my first time in the ancestral land of the sky bamboo lineage. Are you all from the sky bamboo lineage? Su Yin chatted with them for a while and gradually understood that these women were the pearls of the sky bamboo lineage. They had excellent figures and temperaments. and their statuses were not low. However, they were idle members of the family and did not participate in any of the family's matters. Su-yin noticed that some of the women would steal glances at him from time to time. Su-yan's heart thumped. Why did Zhu Yuanqing, that old thing, arrange for them to be here? These women did not have much experience in the world and did not participate in any of the family's matters. Su-yin pondered for a while and could only think of one explanation. Perhaps they were all married women. This was the only explanation. Otherwise, with their talents, they would become the mainstay of the Sky Bamboo lineage sooner or later. They would definitely take charge of some of the family's matters in advance. Since Elder Yuanqing brought you here, young master, you're definitely not an ordinary person. May I know which tribe Xingji are you? A woman asked, wanting to know more about Su-yin. Hearing this, Su-yin teased. Why are you all so interested in my identity? Are you here to have a blind date with me? The 6 women couldn't help but laugh at the same time. Some of the women used their sleeves to cover their bashful cheeks. It was as if a piece of cloth covering their private parts had been removed. Seeing their appearance, Su-yin sighed slightly. Young master, why are you sighing? Did we do something wrong? Some of the women looked a little flustered. The Sky Bamboo branch had always had strict clan rules. They didn't dare to provoke an honored guest from the clan. Although they didn't know much about the world, they knew what kind of person Zhu Yuanqing was in the clan. The Sky Bamboo lineage was very large, and there were tens of millions of bloodline clansmen. Nothing could be accomplished without rules and regulations. Generally speaking, the lineage disciples of the clan were already very terrifying in status. They were all leaders who ruled over a region. In front of the lineage disciples, their status was really low. That's not it. Su-yin shook his head and smiled. All of you are a feast for the eyes, so why would I be dissatisfied? It's just that I'm a little moved. Sooner or later, you'll all have to marry. I wonder who would be so lucky to marry all of you. Do you have anyone you like? Young master, you must be joking. Marriage is something important, and it must be arranged by the clan. A woman's expression was a little gloomy. She seemed to have someone she liked, but deep down, she still felt that marriage arranged by the clan was the right way to go. Is this considered brainwashing? Su-yin sighed in his heart. Marriage was something that needed to be arranged by the clan. Were they considered marriage tools? After thinking about it, Su-yin realized that he was thinking too much. Everyone had their own opportunities. He couldn't even take care of himself now. So why should he care about others? Since young master is from the outside world, do you know Su Xianren? A woman suddenly asked. Su Xianren? Su-yin was a little confused. Was she talking about him? Young master, you must know. Our clan has heard of the legend of Su Xianren. A woman giggled. I heard that he's quite pitiful. He has many enemies, and many people want to kill him. He's probably causing trouble all day long. One look, and you can tell that he's a short-lived ghost. Su-yin's expression stiffened. Mother of Asterisk causing trouble? A short-lived ghost? What kind of thing was this? Where did they hear this news from? Bamboo Moon, what do you want from the clan's resources? Just tell me. In the distance, an old man with a powerful aura accompanied Bamboo Moon as they walked out of the forbidden area. The old man even smiled and asked. Bamboo Moon had a lot on her mind. She had gone to the forbidden area and was extremely shocked by the arrangements her clan's patriarch had made for her. She didn't expect the clan to make such a decision, and it was even told to her by an almighty. When the old man saw that Bamboo Moon was silent, he laughed and said, You are now the inheritor of the clan's fate. Every word and action of yours represents the clan. I remember that your cultivation has reached the peak of the heavenly god realm for some time. It's time to consider accumulating the foundation of a king. What was a clan's appointed disciple? It was a disciple who could determine the fate of the clan in the future. It was also a powerhouse that the Sky Bamboo branch would spare no expense to cultivate. However, the Sky Bamboo branch already had a clan's appointed disciple. It was a young paragon who rarely showed himself. Bamboo Moon didn't expect that she would become the clan's inheritor. It had come so suddenly. This status and identity could be said to be a symbol of status that all the young powerhouses of the Sky Bamboo branch would kill to obtain. This was because once they obtained it, It meant that they would become a powerhouse with real power in the Sky Bamboo branch in the future. They could even become a leading powerhouse of the Sky Bamboo branch. In short, the value of this status was too shocking. With the Sky Bamboo branch's foundation, if she was really allowed to squander it, the Divine King would only be a matter of time. It seems like it's because of the Sky Bamboo Patriarch. Bamboo Moon thought to herself. She guessed that it was because of the influence of her prehistoric big brother, but Bamboo Moon guessed wrong. When the Sky Bamboo Almighty saw the fall of the Almighty and the process of his essence being transferred to Bamboo Moon, he immediately recognized the future Bamboo Moon. She was no small matter. After all, she had received guidance from the taboo and embarked on a completely new path. Furthermore, without the approval of the Sky Bamboo Almighty, no one would have been able to make the decision about her becoming the clan's inheritor. After all, the clan already had one. Unless one of them died or met with an accident during cultivation, a new one would be established. Isn't that Su Yin? Suddenly, the old man beside her looked at the scene in the garden and smiled. This guy is very carefree now. He doesn't treat himself as an outsider. Youngsters these days are really carefree. Bamboo Moon frowned slightly when she heard that. She followed the old man's gaze and saw Su Yin chatting and laughing with a group of beauties in the garden. This scene made Bamboo Moon clench her slender hands slightly. A sense of irritation welled up in her heart. She really wanted to grab Su Yin and give him a good beating. Did this guy not know why she had come to the Sky Bamboo branch? Su Yin was instantly alerted by the cold glint in his eyes. He looked over and noticed that Bamboo Moon was not far from the garden. She was looking at him with a gloomy gaze. Su Yin felt a chill run down his spine. Suddenly, one of the beauties beside Su Yin lost her balance and fell into Su Yan's arms. The group of beauties cried out in surprise. In their eyes, someone had taken the initiative to throw herself at Lu Sheng. Su Yan's expression darkened. Bamboo Moon was watching from the side. There was no way he could explain himself now. When Su Yin raised his head again, he realized that Bamboo Moon had already turned around and left. Su Yin felt a headache coming on. What a beautiful misunderstanding. My young friend. The old man with a powerful aura walked over with a fake smile. He said, Sky Bamboo Mountain is about to open. Do you want to go and take a look? Of course I want to go. Su Yin glared at the old man. Damn it. If he had not pushed that woman with his hidden strength, such a beautiful misunderstanding would not have happened. Although the old man was very secretive, Su Yin had already cultivated the eye of the universe. He could see everything clearly. The Divine King probably did not know that his little trick had been seen through by Su Yin. Even Bamboo Moon, who had already walked far away, saw everything clearly. She already knew what Zhu Yuanqing wanted to do. She did not think that this old man would be so shameless. All right then, let's go. Zhu Yongyin was puzzled. How could he sit still when the beauties took the initiative to walk into his arms? These 6 pearls of the Sky Bamboo bloodline had been carefully trained by their clan's female elders. They would not reject Su Yan's excessive requests. Zhu Yongyin was very clear about Zhu Yuanqing's thoughts. He wanted to rope in Su Yin first. It would be best if he could stay in Sky Bamboo forever. It would naturally be better if he could form a relationship with Zhu Yu. Of course, it could not be Zhu Yu. This was also done on purpose for Zhu Yu. However, Su Yin did not seem to be interested in these beauties. Zhu Yongyin was a little distressed. He immediately led Su Yin out of the garden. They passed through a mountain range and arrived at a region filled with hazy, chaotic energy. Because this was the core area of the Sky Bamboo bloodline, there were very few cultivators. As for the chaotic zone ahead, Su Yin could vaguely sense an extremely majestic life aura. Sky Bamboo Mountain, the forbidden area of the Sky Bamboo bloodline. What does it look like? Su Yin was very curious. They sped up as they passed through the chaotic zone. Soon, Su Yin saw a peerless beauty walking in front. Bamboo Moon, why are you walking so fast? Why didn't you wait for me? Su Yin sent a voice transmission shamelessly. Also, what happened just now was a misunderstanding. That old man did it on purpose. However, the peerless beauty walking in front had light footsteps. Step by step, she strolled through the chaotic zone. She was like a fairy walking on waves, dreamy and illusory. Facing Su Yin, who was constantly sending voice transmissions, Bamboo Moon's lips curled up slightly, revealing a beautiful arc. Her red lips were bright, her skin was smooth, and her beautiful eyes were filled with a mischievous smile. She did it on purpose. Who asked Su Yin to run to the garden and joke with 6 clan sisters at this juncture? Wasn't this embarrassing her? Although she already knew what had happened, Bamboo Moon still did not want to bother with Su Yin. She could not even forget about becoming a clan disciple. Soon, Bamboo Moon's figure disappeared from the chaotic zone. When Su Yin also stepped out of the chaotic zone, Su Yan's heart trembled. This was because the dragon totem on his arm that had been silent all this time suddenly blazed. It was like a true dragon that had been silent for eternity, showing signs of awakening. Could this be a peerless treasure land? Su Yan's heart trembled. Since the dragon totem showed signs of awakening, it was enough to prove that this place was of great help to the dragon totem. Could the dragon totem take this opportunity to awaken? When the chaotic zone in front of them dispersed, what entered their eyes was an ancient and desolate world. Not a single blade of grass grew here. It was deathly silent without any signs of life. It looked like a world that had been dead for a long time. The quiet and desolate environment emitted rich fluctuations of time. This environment was different from the outside world. It was as if they had returned to prehistoric times. Su Yin was surprised. This was a peerless treasure land. It really did look like a land of death. Even with Su Yan's mystical arts, he could not see anything special about this world. Was this the ancestral land of the sky bamboo bloodline? However, the dragon totem's flickering brilliance made Su Yin feel that this place was no small matter. Chapter 10:16. This was a barren world that stretched as far as the eye could see. In this barren land of death, there was an ancient and savage aura spreading out. It was hard to estimate how long this space-time and heaven and earth had existed. This was the ancestral land of the sky bamboo lineage that had been passed down for millions of years. The ancestral land could be called the origin of all clans. The ancestral land of the sky bamboo lineage was already terrifying enough, but could this small world be the place where the sky bamboo lineage had once risen to power? Su Yin was a little puzzled. He looked around and realized that many young experts had gathered in this area. All of them had surging blood essence and powerful auras. They were all cultivators of the god realm. There were no less than 30 to 40 young experts of the heaven god realm, which made Su Yin sigh in admiration at the foundation of the Peak clans. They were all young clansmen of the sky bamboo lineage, so there must be some young experts who had yet to show themselves. These young people all had the potential to become the divine king in the future. They were all core disciples of the sky bamboo lineage, and some were even legacy disciples. The arrival of Bamboo Moon, the clan's appointed disciple, attracted the attention of all the clansmen. A few days ago, the clan had spread a piece of shocking news that made all the young people in the clan feel incredulous. Why had Bamboo Moon suddenly become a clan's appointed disciple? All the young experts of the clan were unconvinced. No one felt that Bamboo Moon had the qualifications. This was an identity that they dreamed of obtaining. So, she is Bamboo Moon. This was the first time many clansmen had seen Bamboo Moon's true appearance. Jealousy appeared in the depths of some of the girls' eyes as they said hatefully, "I heard that she is very arrogant." Battle God Chiao Ming came to the clan many times to meet her, but he was rejected every time. Is that true? That is Battle God Chiao Ming, an absolute king level expert. Some of the girls cried out in surprise. They knew Chiao Ming very well. He was an absolute king level expert of the younger generation, who knew how many girls would fall head over heels for him. I heard some rumors. It is said that Bamboo Moon has been outside for many years. She has an unclear relationship with Su Yin. A deep voice sounded out, leaving many sky bamboo clansmen speechless. In the past, they didn't know who Su Yin was, but now they knew. Su Xianren's name resounded like thunder in their ears. The great events that had shaken the universe a few days ago were all related to Su Xianren. In fact, the matter had yet to be settled. The higher-ups of the Sky Bamboo branch were still paying close attention to it. The tragic state of the sealed heaven region was still vivid in their minds. I say, Bamboo Moon, now that you become the clan's disciple, your status is so high that you don't even greet me? A mocking voice exploded, startling all the clansmen who were discussing. Su Yin frowned. He looked around and saw a group of young powerhouses with noble temperaments. They were all Sky Bamboo's legacy disciples, and the one leading them was someone he was familiar with, Zhu Yongjia. After all, Zhu Yongjia was Zhu Yuanqing's descendant and a legacy disciple of the Sky Bamboo branch. He was absolutely furious with his family. It was definitely because of Su Yin, a taboo, that Bamboo Moon had her current status. This caused Zhu Yongjia to feel indignant. He fiercely said, "Her status is indeed very high. Humph, a clan's disciple. I just don't know how great the disparity is between her strength and her status." Zhu Yongjia, haven't you suffered enough from last time? Bamboo Moon's eyes flashed with a cold light. Her personality was unyielding, so she directly mocked him. You. Zhu Yongjia flew into a rage. He pointed at Bamboo Moon and said, "Don't think that I don't know where your status came from. What qualifications do you have to be mentioned in the same breath as my clan's young supreme? If you know what's good for you, then withdraw from your status as a clan's disciple. Don't disgrace my clan." What? Giving you this status will increase my clan's prestige? Bamboo Moon remained calm from beginning to end. She was as beautiful as a fairy and was once a leader of a great sect. There was no need for her to be disturbed by a mere Zhu Yongjia. Scoundrel! Zhu Yongjia was furious. Veins were popping out on his forehead as he said with an ashen face, "Bamboo Moon, don't think that I don't know where your status came from. Also, you and Su Yan's status are unclear. You don't know that 3 of my clan's elders died at the hands of Su Xianren." Zhu Yongjia, shut your mouth. These words caused Zhu Yanyun's expression to change. This was a taboo matter. Even the Sky Bamboo Almighty had said that this matter would end here. After all, 3 elders had made a move against the taboo. The fact that the prehistoric Big Brother didn't come to visit was already considered lenient. Moreover, the Sky Bamboo Almighty had also passed down this matter. Who in the clan would dare to talk about it? Did they forget Zhu Yinsai's fate? It had only been a few days. Damn it, am I not speaking the truth? Zhu Yongjia's expression was gloomy as he angrily said, "In short, I refuse to accept this. What right does Bamboo Moon have to get this status? The clan didn't consider this matter thoroughly. How can the status of our clan's leader fall into the hands of a woman? I refuse to accept this." That's right. I also want to protest. Also, this woman was once chased out of the clan. She became a monk halfway through her life. Her future achievements are limited. The entire place was filled with accusations, causing Su Yin to be furious. He knew a lot about Bamboo Moon's experience when she was young from Fairy Xixia, but now their clansmen had exposed it in a bloody manner. As for Bamboo Moon, she was silent. She didn't want to think about what had happened in the past. The clan is unfair. The auras of the dozen or so young experts around Zhu Yongjia rose sharply. They were all heavenly god realm experts and didn't think that they were weaker than Bamboo Moon. They felt that the clan had decided on Bamboo Moon's status without any consideration. This was too unfair. You are a grand clan, and now the young disciples of your clan are ganging up to bully a woman. I've really broadened my horizons. You don't have the ability to fight for your status, but you can talk about it with your mouth. A cold and indifferent voice resounded throughout the entire place. These words caused Zhu Yongjia and the others to be both shocked and angry. Their gazes fell on Su Yin. They didn't recognize this person. Zhu Yongjia angrily rebuked. "Who are you? How can an outsider like you enter our clan's important grounds? Zhu Yangyun, how could you bring him in?" Su Yin coldly said, "Where did Zhu Yuanqing go? Bring him here. I'll give him a good explanation." How dare you? How dare you call the great elder of my clan by his name?" A figure suddenly shot out from behind Zhu Yongjia and pounced forward. His aura erupted and was extremely intimidating. He roared at Su Yin, "You don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Apologize to me immediately." These people had a belly full of anger. Now, Su Yan's words had made them unable to bear it. Some of them directly attacked. It was as if they were targeting Bamboo Moon. They waved their big hands and fiercely slapped Su Yan's chest. Zhu Yongyun wanted to stop them, but it was too late. Su Yan's movements were too fast. He had already disappeared without a trace. When he reappeared, the sky was gloomy and a terrifying aura was overflowing. A terrifying celestial phenomenon was born. In an instant, bolts of lightning shot out from the darkness. They rushed like a storm towards the young expert who attacked Su Yan. Many people did not see the scene of lightning flashing and thunder roaring clearly. They only saw the figure that pounced towards Su Yan being sent flying while trembling. He was spitting out blood, and even his chest was char-black. His entire person was in a terrible state. This person fell to the ground and howled in pain. He was in so much pain that he couldn't get up. The lightning scattered the powerful source of life in his body and almost pierced through his life gate. This made him terrified. He had almost died just now. Bamboo Moon was astonished. When did Su Yan cultivate the lightning divine ability? Many people were stunned. What was going on? Who was this uninvited guest? He directly attacked in front of so many young experts of the Sky Bamboo lineage and heavily injured one of their clan's inheritors. This combat strength was too strong. How dare you? Zhu Yongjia and the others were furious. What was this place? This was the Sky Bamboo lineage's forbidden area. Someone actually attacked their own clan's disciple. Wasn't this too arrogant? Why? Do you still want to come? Su Yan stood in front. His clothes were fluttering. He stared at them coldly and shouted, "This is just a lesson. If anyone dares to attack me again, don't blame me for not showing mercy. You are too arrogant." Zhu Yongjia and the others were so angry that they were trembling. Just when the group of young experts wanted to work together to escape, a powerful voice rang out. A dignified voice rang out. "What are you doing? This is the Sky Bamboo Mountain's forbidden area. You dare to use force? Stand back." Someone quickly said, "It's the Grand Elder." "Grand Elder, this person is too arrogant. He even attacked in our clan's forbidden area. I think bastard." Zhu Yuanqing had already crossed over to this barren world. He coldly shouted, "You dare to lie in front of this old man? How dare you?" The person who spoke was so frightened that his face turned green. What was going on? Why was Zhu Yuanqing helping an outsider? "Grandpa." Zhu Yongjia was also angry. He wanted to complain, but Zhu Yuanqing glared at him and reprimanded. "You are becoming more and more unruly. Is this how I usually teach you to treat guests? He is an honored guest that I invited. How dare you act recklessly?" The group was instantly dumbfounded. They were shocked and doubtful. Who was this person? Why did the Grand Elder speak up for him? "Haha, Elder Yuanqing, it's just a spar between peers. Don't get angry, Grand Elder." Su Yan smiled at him. "It's my fault for not teaching you well. I have embarrassed myself in front of you." Zhu Yuanqing was now worshipping Su Yan like a god. He still hoped that Big Brother Prehistoric would pave the way for him to become an almighty. Moreover, with Su Yan's backing alone, the Sky Bamboo Mountain would naturally try to befriend him. "Great Elder, you're making me feel ashamed." Su Yan laughed and said, "I didn't control myself when I attacked just now. Don't worry, Grand Elder. I will take care of this friend's injuries. I guarantee that he will be alive and kicking." Zhu Yuanqing laughed and said, "It's just a small matter. It's not worth mentioning. This is an important place of my Sky Bamboo Mountain. It's also my clan's ancestral land. You can stay here and observe. You might encounter some opportunities." Zhu Yongjia was furious. He did not expect Zhu Yuanqing to reprimand him because of Su Yan. Zhu Yuanqing was really taking him seriously. "Grand Elder, this is Sky Bamboo Mountain." Zhu Yongyun could not hold back. "It's fine." Zhu Yuanqing smiled and said, "Young friend, your talent is outstanding. You might encounter some opportunities." Some people were puzzled. What was wrong with Zhu Yuanqing? He was allowing an outsider to observe Sky Bamboo Mountain and even let him try to encounter some opportunities. However, some people did not think much of it. Sky Bamboo Mountain was the ancestral land of the Sky Bamboo Mountain. Outsiders could not obtain any inheritance or opportunities. The Grand Elder was just saying it. At the same time, they were puzzled by Su Yan's identity. The Grand Elder was befriending him. Could it be that this person came from a restricted area? Was he comparable to Qiu Ming's identity? Based on how easily he defeated the clan's disciple, they could see that this person's combat strength was not to be underestimated. At this moment, Zhu Yuanqing was solemn, as if he was on a pilgrimage. He walked step by step toward the end of the barren land. Every time he walked, he would bow with his hands clasped in front to show his respect to the ancestral land. 99% of the young experts present were here for the first time. They were all watching with wide eyes. Su Yan was slightly surprised. This was because the further Zhu Yuanqing walked, the more turbulent this barren land became. His eyes of the universe opened involuntarily. Suddenly, Su Yan caught a majestic aura of life. At this moment, Su Yan was intoxicated and could not extricate himself. This was because he seemed to have seen the evolution of the origin of life. The land of the dead was reviving and turning into a holy land. The light of eternity was rising. Su Yan's body, in particular, was strange and special. It was as if it had turned into a strange symbol and was undergoing a new level of reorganization. It was about to awaken in the midst of death and reorganize in the midst of destruction. Brothers, today is the last day of the double monthly ticket. Please count the tickets. There will be more later. Chapter 1017. The Origin of Life. Even if a group of powerful living fossils were gathered together to discuss this topic, they wouldn't be able to come up with anything even if they talked for 10,000 years. Although powerful beings could open up a universe, they definitely couldn't create life. Although all living things had spirits, who could create life with flesh and blood since ancient times. But now, Su Yan sensed a kind of aura in the ancestral land of the Sky Bamboo lineage. This was the aura of life. It could revive the dead and change time and space. Its profundity was unimaginably profound. Su Yan was intoxicated and couldn't extricate himself. His body even glowed on its own. Although Su Yan didn't show much of it, it was mainly because he was in the body-nurturing technique state. But he suddenly felt that this aura was similar to the body-nurturing technique. The body-nurturing technique absorbed the essence of famous mountains, great rivers, and the heavenly essence of the universe. It included the qi of the world's origin to nourish one's body. Because of this vast aura of life, Su Yan's body-nurturing technique started to operate on its own. This was a very strange feeling. Su Yan's body-nurturing technique didn't get stronger. It seemed to have undergone an invisible qualitative change. Vaguely, Su Yan's temperament changed. It was ethereal and ethereal. Now, everyone's attention was on Zhu Yuanqing. No one was paying attention to Su Yan. Zhu Yuanqing walked with unusual respect. He kept bowing with his hands clasped in front of him, showing his great respect to the ancestral land. With each step, the land of death welcomed the revival. After 999 steps, the land of death completely changed. It turned into a sacred land. Auspicious clouds lingered and bloomed with immortal radiance. There was an immortal fluctuation spreading. It was as if an immortal pure land had been born. The whole place was in an uproar. Many young people were speechless. This was their ancestral land. There was life and death. It was sacred to the extreme. Su Yan's figure was also a little blurry. He seemed to have become one with the sacred land. He gushed with morning clouds and released the aura of life. His body was dyed with a layer of sacred light. It was as if he had gained intelligence. He was glowing and emitting heat. Zhu Yangyun, who was beside him, was frightened. What was going on? He was really worried that Su Yan had obtained something from the Sky Bamboo lineage's ancestral land. This place was the private property of their lineage. It even hid great opportunities. Zhu Yangyun didn't want Su Yan to obtain any. Cough, cough, he directly coughed violently. This sound contained the sound of the Tao, causing Su Yan's eyes to turn black. The constantly evolving origin of life in front of him gradually collapsed and disappeared. Zhu Yongyan heaved a sigh of relief when he saw the auspicious light on Su Yan's body disappear. Zhu Yongyun. Zhu Yongyun. Once again, Su Yan's heart was as calm as water. He was neither angry nor annoyed. What was the use of being angry? However, his condition was very strange. His body was overflowing with auspicious clouds and emitting a strange light. For a time, Su Yan's body trembled violently as a terrifying potential was released. Bamboo Moon looked back at Su Yan. Her celestial moon body was shaking uncontrollably. It was as if it was being suppressed by the heavens. She was surprised. What had Su Yan obtained? His physique was changing. It blended with heaven and earth. It was as if he had become one with the universe. An aura was faintly discernible. Although it was difficult to release, this aura suppressed Bamboo Moon's celestial moon body. Could it be that Su Yan has a sealed sovereign body? It's about to be unsealed. Bamboo Moon was surprised. Was it because of the opening of the sky bamboo mountain that Su Yan had obtained something? Had he obtained an opportunity to perfect his physique? Since ancient times, there had been generations of supreme bodies. However, everyone knew that the purest supreme body was hard to come by, but there were also those who could perfect the supreme body. However, this was very difficult and required great opportunities. Bamboo Moon guessed that Su Yan had obtained such an opportunity. Of course, only Bamboo Moon was able to capture such a physique suppression. This type of suppression was completely related to one's physique. Su Yan had indeed obtained something, but he couldn't say what it was. The changes just now were due to the effects of the body nurturing technique. It was also due to Su Yan's comprehension of the mysteries. He was at a loss and a bit annoyed. Just now, if Zhu Yongyan hadn't tried to harm him, he might have been able to grasp it clearly. Now, he had a premonition that there was a terrifying might within his body that had been nourished. However, it wasn't enough. The body nurturing technique can really restore the flaws in my physique. Su Yan clenched his fists. He wanted to pull Zhu Yongyan out and give him a good beating. However, he didn't say anything and wasn't angry. This made Zhu Yongyan confused. Could he have seen wrongly? Su Yan couldn't obtain anything. Otherwise, with Su Xianren's personality, he would probably glare at him angrily. It's so peaceful. Su Yan's eyes continued to observe. This barren land had completely transformed into a sacred pure land. A vast tide of life nurtured all life. Many young experts of the sky bamboo lineage were frantically absorbing the pervasive tide of life. This energy was beneficial to their cultivation. It could cleanse their muscles and bones and cleanse their bodies of impurities. It was a rare energy substance. Dragon Totem, don't act recklessly. Su Yan's heart raced because the dragon totem's temperature was rising. He was truly worried that the dragon totem would fly out. Boom! A loud explosion rang out. It was loud and clear, but when it reached his ears, it was relatively calm. It was as if it had never appeared in the space-time. Su Yan saw that at the end of the sacred pure land, space-time rifts appeared one after another. They were shockingly deep. This was a type of creature coming out of the mountain. The process caused the space-time to collapse. The following scene left Su Yan stunned. He saw that within the space-time rift, a plant was manifesting. The plant was huge and dark yellow. It stood tall within the space-time rift. It was so tall that it was difficult to see its end. Its aura was also extremely special. There was an aura of life and death emanating from it. A bamboo. Su Yan scratched his head in astonishment. He saw a giant bamboo. Sky bamboo lineage. Could it be that Daozu is a bamboo? Su Yan's mind was in a bit of daze. Who would believe this if word got out? But this was indeed a giant bamboo. It towered into the heavens and was as large as a mountain. But this bamboo seemed to be dead. It was dark yellow and had lost its emerald green. But Su Yan saw bamboo leaves above it. Some were emerald green and some were withered yellow. These leaves seemed to have already died. But these bamboo leaves were a bit terrifying. Each bamboo leaf was surrounded by chaotic light. A gentle sway could cut apart the sea of stars in the sky, and each leaf carried a blurry sea of stars. Within them, The sun, moon, and stars were rumbling and rotating, emitting an eternal light. The scene was shocking. The withered yellow bamboo had about 100 leaves that emitted divine light. They carried the sea of stars and were filled with an indescribable aura. The giant bamboo seemed to be walking towards death. But this was the ancestral land of the sky bamboo lineage. Was this the origin of life? And even the sky bamboo lineage? Could it be that Daozu was a bamboo? Suyin was a little confused. His line of thought was overturned. However, the giant bamboo was extremely terrifying. It was as if it had truly come alive. It was hard to imagine how strong it would be. What are they doing? Following that, he was surprised to see young clansmen of the sky bamboo lineage walking towards the giant bamboo. All of them were solemn and respectful, as if they were really on a pilgrimage. They maintained an absolute reverence. The first young cultivator to arrive in front of the giant bamboo was prostrating on the ground. He tried his best to touch the withered yellow bamboo with his head in reverence. After kowtowing 3 times in a row, the young cultivator waited quietly for a while before returning with a face full of disappointment. Zhu Yuanqing and the others were not surprised. They instructed the next disciple to go directly over. All the cultivators who approached the giant bamboo had to kowtow with a sincere heart. Many people were full of expectations, hoping to obtain something. However, in the end, they could only sigh. It seems like there is an opportunity within this bamboo. Su Yin understood. The withered yellow, giant bamboo on Sky Bamboo Mountain was their ancestral land. It was also a place of opportunity. However, the hope of obtaining it was too slim. Zhu Yuanqing was very clear that after a long time, a full 1,000,000 years, the number of cultivators who could obtain the bamboo's recognition could be counted on one's fingers in every universe epoch. It was pitifully few, even if none of them obtained it. Zhu Yuanqing was no exception. Sigh. More and more people sighed. Most of the people who came here had touched it, but unfortunately, they obtained nothing. When Zhu Yongjiao went forward, Zhu Yuanqing was also full of expectations. Unfortunately, he could only be disappointed. He also did not succeed. Could it be that not even one person obtained it this time? Some of the senior elders here let out a long sigh. Zhu Yongjia and the others felt much better. Since they could not obtain it, there was no need to worry about it. Hee, you can't say it like that. Our clan's newly conferred disciple naturally has unparalleled talent. She will definitely obtain it. Someone's voice was heard. It was not praise, but a type of ridicule. Some people looked at Bamboo Moon with mocking eyes, waiting for her to make a fool of herself. It was fine if they could not obtain it, but if the clan's disciple could not obtain it, then it would be a huge joke. The clan's disciples of the Sky Bamboo lineage had to obtain the Sky Bamboo Mountain's recognition. Facing such disdainful gazes, Bamboo Moon remained unperturbed. She was ethereal. Her silver robe made her look noble and beautiful. Her delicate snow-white skin emitted moonlight and starlight. Her eyes were looking at the giant bamboo. Her heart was filled with strong self-confidence. This was because she felt that the prehistoric big brother was too terrifying. He seemed to know that their clan had a giant bamboo. Bamboo Moon, oh Bamboo Moon. You will soon be famous in the history of our clan for the shortest amount of time to be a clan's disciple. Zhu Yongjia sneered in his heart. At the same time, he glared at Su Yan. He thought to himself that when the matter at Sky Bamboo Mountain was over, he would teach him a lesson. Bamboo Moon, it's your turn. After about 2 hours of the Sky Bamboo lineage's disciples who came for the test, only Bamboo Moon was left. The gazes that gathered on Bamboo Moon were filled with mockery. They wanted to see her make a fool of herself and become the laughingstock of the clan. Wait for Bamboo Moon to finish her test. Little friend, you should also go and take a look. That is our clan's strongest foundation. Zhu Yuanqing said with a smile. His voice made the senior elders not know what to say. Although it was against the rules, since Zhu Yuanqing had spoken, they could not say anything. Grand Elder, this matter, Zhu Yunyun hurriedly said. Zhu Yongyun hurriedly said. He thought of Su Yan's previous state and wanted to explain the situation in detail. Su Yan's mind was tense. Old thing, don't ruin my plans. He really wanted to come into contact with the giant bamboo. Who knew? He might be able to obtain something. Zhu Yuanqing glared at Zhu Yongyun and interrupted his next words in a dignified manner. He thought to himself, what's wrong with him? I've already spoken. Do I have to take back my words and slap myself in the face? Moreover, Su Yin is an outsider. What good things can he obtain? Baidu Search Dong 81 Chinese Network. No advertising message. Chapter 1018. Zhu Yongyun was glared at by Zhu Yuanqing and didn't dare to speak anymore. He was a bit distressed, but he also felt that Su Yin wasn't a disciple of the sky bamboo. So what was there to worry about? Even the geniuses of their own clan were hard to come by, let alone a cultivator from another clan. What right did he have to obtain the fortune of Sky Bamboo Mountain? It would be extremely difficult for him to even get close to the mysterious bamboo. Bamboo Moon should have a harvest. Su Yin had been watching Zhu Yu the entire time. He guessed that the Dao fruit on this gigantic bamboo required sufficient strength. It also required sufficient talent. Furthermore, there was also a need for luck. Bamboo Moon walked step by step towards the giant bamboo. At this moment, she had a sacred temperament, like a fairy from the Moon Palace. She was graceful, and her black hair fluttered in the wind. This woman with fluttering clothes was as beautiful as a fairy. Her temperament and elegance made many beautiful women feel ashamed of their inferiority. Many men of the clan stared at Bamboo Moon, their hearts burning with passion. There were many women in the clan who were interested in Bamboo Moon. Although they were of the same clan, their bloodlines were different, so intermarriage was not a problem. Although Bamboo Moon had many suitors, her status in the clan was a bit awkward. She had a high status, but no one supported her, and she was often suppressed. After all, if a Star Moon physique grew up, she would be amazing in the future, and a part of the clan's power would be taken away. Right now, Zhu Yu is already a clan disciple. This kind of status really made them go crazy with jealousy. They felt that Zhu Yu had no right to obtain these things. If Bamboo Moon couldn't get the giant bamboo's approval, then it would be a big matter. Over the years, the clan's clan disciple had to get the giant bamboo's approval before they could be granted a title. But if Bamboo Moon couldn't get it, Zhu Yongjia and the others would take the opportunity to make things difficult for Bamboo Moon. Maybe they could really make Bamboo Moon lose this status. After all, with the clan's power, the Sky Bamboo Almighty couldn't say anything. At that time, the reason why he agreed to let Bamboo Moon get this identity was because he was sure that the future Bamboo Moon would not be a small matter. It would not be difficult for her to gain the approval of the giant bamboo. When they arrived in front of the giant bamboo, Zhu Yu also knelt down respectfully. According to the family's records, this bamboo had existed for millions of years in the clan. Even if a foreign expert encountered it, it was worth bowing to. When Bamboo Moon's sparkling forehead touched the withered yellow bamboo, Lin Minya's eyes lit up. Zhu Yongjia and the others thought that it was over. Just as they were about to mock and ridicule, their expressions changed one after another. Even Zhu Yuanqing's expression changed. He really didn't expect that Bamboo Moon would cause the giant bamboo to move. Buzz! This was a bamboo that reached the heavens. Its entire body was withered and yellow, and its color was dull. However, because of Bamboo Moon's touch, the Bamboo Moon began to emit light. It actually blossomed with streaks of dark green divine light, brimming with a dense life energy. One after another, these streaks penetrated into Bamboo Moon's tender body. How is this possible? Zhu Yongjia and the others' complexions changed, becoming incomparably ugly. How could this be? Why would the bamboo move? It even probed Bamboo Moon. Of the several hundred young disciples of the Sky Bamboo lineage gathered here, which one of them didn't boast about their outstanding talent? But now, it was as if they had been struck by a bolt of lightning. They were completely dumbfounded. Bamboo Moon had actually been probed by the giant bamboo. They didn't even have the qualifications to probe. All of them felt extremely uncomfortable. Before, they had mocked her, but now they were all mute. Even if she, Bamboo Moon, couldn't obtain a lucky chance, What face did they have to say that Bamboo Moon didn't have the qualifications to obtain the status of a clan disciple? Buzz. Under the probing of the Bamboo Moon's aura also began to vaguely change. Her aura rose in a straight line. Vaguely, a female divine king that overlooked the world appeared between the heavens and earth, suppressing all living beings. The entire audience was in an uproar. Many sky bamboo elders paled. What was this situation? Bamboo Moon hadn't been in the heavenly deity realm for long. But what were they seeing now? Bamboo Moon had already begun to accumulate the Divine King's foundation, and she had already completed a large portion of it. She was now very close to the Divine King. What a good Bamboo Moon. I've really underestimated her. She's too good at keeping her composure. Is she trying to make us look bad? Zhu Yuanqing was shocked. This cultivation speed was too frightening. In just a few years, Bamboo Moon would be able to step into the Divine King's realm. Was the Sky Bamboo lineage about to give birth to a supreme king? Some of the legacy disciples who had previously looked down on Bamboo Moon had ugly expressions. They had underestimated her. In the entire Sky Bamboo lineage, there weren't many young powerhouses who could compare to her. When Bamboo Moon's aura leaked out, she even used the secret technique that her prehistoric big brother had imparted to her. It was a kind of fusion of life and death, a kind of rotation of the sun and moon, and a kind of reversal of the universe. Just as a corner of the chaotic sea of stars was about to appear, the giant bamboo violently shook. All the elders were petrified. They saw with their own eyes that the bamboos were swaying unceasingly. Over 100 bamboos swayed at the same time, as if over 100 starry seas were erupting. The brilliance was terrifying. The entire giant bamboo began to emit an immortal light. The heavens are protecting our clan. A senior elder roared excitedly. He truly saw a resplendent bamboo leaf fall from the sky, like a concentrated sea of stars. It fell onto Bamboo Moon's forehead and turned into a resplendent bamboo moon imprint, fusing with it. Some of the senior elders were wild with joy. According to ancient records, as long as one could obtain a bamboo leaf, the lowest achievement would be the Divine King, and the strongest would be a peak Almighty Expert. If there were no accidents, Bamboo Moon should be able to step into the Almighty Realm. To the Sky Bamboo lineage, this was a joyous occasion worthy of the entire clan celebration. However, some people had gloomy expressions. If Bamboo Moon obtained the bamboo leaf, then what would happen to the other young supreme being that obtained Bamboo Moon? Could it be that they would have to watch on helplessly as Bamboo Moon took away half of the resources to raise Bamboo Moon? Their hearts were filled with shock and anger. Things had gone beyond their control. Bamboo Moon's status as a disciple who had obtained the clan's mandate wasn't frightening. What was frightening was that she had obtained the bamboo leaf. As for Zhu Yongjia and the others, their complexions had completely collapsed. How could such a ridiculous thing happen? Bamboo Moon's mind was in turmoil. She was well aware that the secret technique that her prehistoric big brother had imparted to her had played a crucial role. Not only had she obtained the giant bamboo imprint, but she had also obtained other mysterious inheritances. She stood up. On her snow-white forehead, there was a sparkling and resplendent bamboo leaf imprint. Many people were still in a state of shock, not knowing what to say. Some people were clear that the clan was about to welcome a great change. Bamboo Moon would rise to prominence, and perhaps some old ancestors would step forward to support her. Hurry up and go. Bamboo Moon transmitted her voice to Su Yan. Once the news spread, the old ancestors would pay attention to this place. At that time, Su Yan wouldn't have a chance. This was something that Zhu Yuanqing had obtained for Su Yan by suppressing the various doyens. Great Elder, I will also go and take a look. Zhu Yuanqing absent-mindedly nodded at Su Yan's words. Everyone else was also absent-minded. They didn't have the mood to pay attention to Su Yan. The group of doyens who were in charge of guarding the forbidden area surrounded Bamboo Moon. They were particularly excited. They didn't belong to any faction of the clan. They truly hoped that the clan could rise and continue to be glorious. After a few moments, Zhu Yuanqing calmed down and walked over. Bamboo Moon, Follow me to the forbidden area. Let's meet the old ancestors and tell them the good news. Let them be happy. All right, he should be out soon. Bamboo Moon nodded and looked at Su Yan. Zhu Yuanqing was still nodding absent-mindedly. However, when he glanced at Su Yan, he was completely petrified. Like a statue, he slowly turned his head and looked at Su Yan again. His chin almost hit the ground. He felt that he had gotten himself into trouble. Su Yan walked quickly and appeared in front of the giant bamboo. When he approached the giant bamboo, Su Yan was shocked from the bottom of his heart. He could feel how terrifying this bamboo was. It was like a great Tao immortal bamboo. It was filled with boundless vitality that was slowly being released. However, this type of energy was very special. It was a formless substance that formed a huge field that affected countless dimensions. Great Tao immortal bamboo, you have a long lifespan. You are an ancestor-like existence. Although I'm not a member of the heavenly bamboo lineage, I wish you a long life. Su Yan's expression was respectful. Such a life form, even a plant life form, filled Su Yan's heart with respect. If it was said that it had once been glorious, then it was truly terrifying. All living things had spirits. However, a single bamboo had cultivated to such a level. It was worthy of Su Yan's respect. However, when one of Su Yan's knees touched the ground, the giant bamboo swayed vaguely. This caused the entire sacred pure land to shake. All the cultivators were frightened. What was going on? This was their ancestral land that was perfectly preserved. Why was the earth shaking? Zhu Yuanqing saw it clearly. The giant bamboo was shaking. Could it be that the arrival of outsiders had angered the spirituality of the great Tao immortal bead? This is bad. Zhu Yuanqing's scalp went numb. He wanted to use his strength to pull Su Yan out. However, who could disturb the giant bamboo? Zhu Yuanqing's energy was like a clay ox entering the sea. He couldn't even cause a ripple. Come out quickly. Stop kowtowing. Come out quickly. Zhu Yuanqing was so anxious that he almost stomped his feet. Once something happened to Sky Bamboo Mountain, the mighty figures of his family wouldn't let him off easily. This was the foundation that the Sky Bamboo lineage was proud of. Su Yan didn't know why the bamboo was shaking. However, his knees had already touched the ground. When the second knee was about to touch the ground, the giant bamboo shook even more violently, as if it was frightened. In the process of shaking, the leaves of the great Tao immortal bead rustled. Moreover, the entire sacred pure land seemed to be shaking and on the verge of collapse. Su Yan was shocked. What the F***CK was going on? Would he be able to kill the Great Path Immortal Pearl with just a bow? It seemed that the Great Tao Immortal Bead couldn't withstand Su Yan's kowtow at all. Under the influence of the Great Tao Immortal Bead's hidden energy, Su Yan's body glowed. A blurry nine-colored immortal radiance rose. Behind him, it seemed like a chaotic ocean that had existed for thousands of years. Chapter 1019. What a strange energy fluctuation. It should be coming from the direction of Sky Bamboo Mountain. The vast ancestral land of the Sky Bamboo lineage was majestic. The supreme might of a peerless sect emanated from it, nourishing everyone's noble bearing. In the deepest depths of their ancestral land was a chaos zone that emitted an ancient aura. It had existed for an extremely long period of time, and the chaos aura here would never decline. Chaos, heavenly essence would even surge out from time to time. Buried beneath was the Chaos Dragon Vein. It was a forbidden training ground that the Sky Bamboo lineage was proud of. Almighty figures resided there. Now, in the chaos, resplendent eyes opened one after another. Swirling with chaos radiance, there was an extremely deep chaos vortex revolving in the eyes that could tear apart one's soul. They were the patriarchs of the Sky Bamboo lineage. They had powerful auras and had awakened in the chaos. They had already sensed that something had happened to Sky Bamboo Mountain. Sky Bamboo Mountain was extremely precious to them, but in the ancient texts of their race, there was no mention of anything happening to Sky Bamboo Mountain. A patriarch opened his heavenly eye to look into the distance, and his expression changed. As he observed, his eyes flashed with a luster of excitement and disbelief. They were extremely familiar with the gigantic, withered yellow bamboo. They had kowtowed to it when they were young. What's wrong with the sky bamboo? More than 10 patriarchs were alarmed when they awoke in the chaos. There were mighty figures and half-step mighty figures among them. Among these experts, only 3 had obtained the withered yellow bamboo's recognition and obtained its leaves. Even the present patriarch sky bamboo had obtained one. Every ancestor who obtained a bamboo leaf attached great importance to their clan's heavenly bamboo. They said that it was the strongest land of fortune in the heavenly bamboo lineage. Unfortunately, they didn't know what this bamboo was or what it meant for their clan. Perhaps only the sky bamboo mighty figures knew a thing or two about it among the entire race. But now, the scene that appeared in front of them left them in disbelief. An ancestor excitedly said, "My mother, bamboo leaves are falling down one after another. Just how terrifying of an opportunity is this? Could it be that our clan is about to give birth to an invincible overlord, an existence comparable to a primogenitor?" In the primal chaos, divine light flourished and rumbled. They were extremely excited and felt that their race had given birth to a peerless monster. He was definitely not inferior to the almighty sky bamboo, and he might even surpass the almighty sky bamboo. They were excited and fanatical, but there were also some old ancestors who felt doubt, because this didn't conform to common sense. Over the years, even the most powerful geniuses their clan produced could only obtain a single leaf, yet now, leaves were falling one after another. What kind of situation was this? According to their understanding, in recent years, other than the star and moon physique, there hadn't been any outstanding disciples in the clan. As for Sky Bamboo Mountain, Zhu Yuanqing roared crazily. His eyes were so red that they were about to explode. What was going on? Mother of Asterisker, one leaf after another fell and was taken away by Su Yin. Zhu Yuanqing was about to go crazy. He was the one who brought Su Yin here. He had even personally agreed to let Su Yin go and take a look at the scenery of the Tianzhu Mountain. What was going on now? Why would so many leaves fall from the bamboo to Su Yin? Every leaf was a priceless treasure to their clan, a treasure that would never be sold outside. However, at this moment, bright bamboo leaves were falling down without any regard for their lives, as though they were trying to prevent Su Yin from kneeling down. Those leaves were as terrifying as a concentrated sea of stars as they rolled down and landed on the top of Su Yin's head. "I really am." Bamboo Moon was so anxious that her eyes were red. "Su Yin, what the hell are you doing? Do you know what kind of place Sky Bamboo Mountain is?" Although she hoped that Su Yin would obtain some good fortune, Su Yin's performance was too excessive. A total of 9 leaves had fallen. In fact, Su Yin was also dumbfounded. What the hell was going on? He didn't want to cause such a big commotion. Even if he obtained some good fortune, he only needed to take 1 leaf away. Although Su Yin was overjoyed in his heart, he was also worried. However, his heart was also filled with worry. F***CK, isn't this a trap? Can the Sky Bamboo faction just stop and watch Su Yin take the 9 leaves away? Even before that, the Dragon Totem had already started plundering. That's right. The Dragon Totem's target was the vast life essence within the huge bamboo. It had existed for too long. Who knew how much life essence it had stored? Su Yin didn't know much about plant life. Logically speaking, the older a plant was, the more divine power it could store. Su Yin was really worried that the Dragon Totem would absorb too much. It was as if the great Tao immortal bamboo had died and withered. At that time, even if the prehistoric Big Brother came to ask for him, the Sky Bamboo faction wouldn't easily hand him over. As for the 9 leaves, what confused Su Yin was that he didn't sense any useful energy from them. The 9 leaves seemed to disappear the moment they touched Su Yin. Su Yin was flabbergasted. What was going on? He had taken such a big risk. He couldn't possibly leave empty-handed, right? In the next moment, Su Yin realized that the great Tao immortal bamboo was still shaking. Another leaf was about to fall. My God, don't fall anymore. Su Yin suddenly got up. He wanted to turn around and run. He was really scared. He was worried that the leaves of the huge bamboo would fall and it would become a bare pole. But suddenly, he realized that when he stood up, the great Tao, immortal bamboo, stopped shaking and regained its tranquility. The bamboo leaves also stopped falling. Su Yin was surprised. Could it be because of his kneeling? It was terrifying to think about. While Su Yin was shocked, the outside world was in an uproar. Zhu Yuanxing and the others were terrified. An outsider had obtained 9 leaves. Wouldn't the consequences be serious? Come out. Hurry up. Hurry up and come out. Zhu Yuanxing's roar exploded in Su Yan's ears. What taboo? What taboo, big brother? These were no longer important. Surviving was the most important thing now. He had to make Su Yan hand over all the leaves. Otherwise, the tribe's old ancestor might skin him alive. As for Zhu Yongjia, his eyes were red. 9 F** king leaves. Su Yin couldn't take any of them. Then, wouldn't he be able to get 1? Or even 2 leaves? Thinking of this, Zhu Yongjia became restless. The chances of success were high. After all, the sky bamboo lineage wouldn't let Su Yin take the leaves away. Su Yin smiled bitterly. He didn't want to go out. Even if he was beaten to death, he wouldn't want to go out. He was really worried that after he went out, he would be locked up in a small black room and interrogated by the sky bamboo lineage. At that time, he would be a fish on the chopping board. The prehistoric big brother wasn't here. Moreover, it was impossible for Su Yin to leave this place because the dragon totem was still swallowing. He saw that the giant bamboo was still as magnificent as before and that its life force was still boundless. He immediately felt relieved. There was far too much energy stored within the bamboo. It didn't matter if the dragon totem stole some of it. In short, once the dragon totem awoke, Su Yin would have another trump card. Were those 9 leaves? Su Yin carefully probed. He had used his divine sense to scan his body many times, but he still hadn't discovered where the 9 leaves had gone. Su Yin frowned. Could it be that it wasn't because of him, but because of some other special reason? Could it be because of the Celestial Emperor War Banner? Su Yin whispered in his heart. He was the controller of the Celestial Emperor War Banner, and this banner originated from the ancient Celestial Court. It could also be considered a symbol of Su Yan's status. Perhaps the great Tao immortal bamboo had lived for far too long and couldn't accept the bow of the Celestial Emperor War Banner's controller. Thus the leaves had fallen. However, all of this was just Su Yan's imagination running wild. He didn't know the truth. The problem facing him was a little troublesome. No matter how Zhu Yuanxing and the others called out, Su Yin wouldn't come out. Su Yin even looked like he was going to kneel down again. As expected, the giant bamboo swayed again. Su Yan's fists clenched tightly, but he didn't kneel down completely. Instead, he transmitted his will of the great Tao. He said that he was worried that the celestial bamboo would make things difficult for him and wouldn't let him take away the 9 leaves. The great Tao, immortal bamboo, seemed to understand Su Yan's words. In an instant, its divine light shone brightly. At this moment, it was exceptionally bright, as if it was bathing in the divine light of the sea of stars. It released tens of thousands of rays of light, vaguely describing the great Tao of the origin of life. Was it because it understood Su Yan's words? Or was it presenting a Tao fruit to Su Yan? Su Yan couldn't figure this out. In short, the Tao fruit that the great Tao immortal bamboo had evolved was extremely astonishing. It flashed in Su Yan's eyes, causing his body to glow. The profundities of the origin of all life appeared in his flesh shell, and it was extremely similar to the Tao fruit of the origin of life that the bamboo had evolved. He saw the birth of life after death and the growth of all life. This was a kind of life energy. It was extremely difficult to describe, but it could bestow all life with a divine charm. Let's go and take a look. At this moment, the old experts in the primal chaos clearly saw that Sky Bamboo Mountain had reached the pinnacle of holiness. It bloomed with auspicious light, and even the seal couldn't suppress its divine aura. The interior had turned into the world's purest nation. One after another, the old experts in slumber in the primal chaos were elated. They hurried to Sky Bamboo Mountain, wanting to know who it was as soon as possible. There were even some experts who came with the intention of taking in a disciple. They had taken such a stunning genius under their wing. Just like that, a dozen old ancestors rushed in. Their auras were terrifying. Because of their excitement, some of their auras leaked out, causing Zhu Yongjia and the others to tremble. One by one, they collapsed to the ground, their lips trembling. More than a dozen old ancestors had arrived at the same time. It was rare to see an ordinary old ancestor, but now more than a dozen of them had rushed out, causing them to not dare breathe loudly. Old ancestor. Zhu Yuanqing felt a headache coming on. He hurried over to pay his respects. Although some of the old ancestors weren't as strong as him, their lifespan was extremely long. However, the lifespans of these patriarchs were shockingly long, easily reaching 20 to 30,000 years. Yuanqing, what's going on? An old ancestor was in a good mood and asked with a smile. Old ancestor, something big has happened. Zhu Yuanqing wanted to cry. The old ancestor wouldn't think it was a disciple of his race, right? That was why he was all smiles and didn't directly denounce him. Ah, of course, I know something big has happened. Who is it? Hurry up and tell us. Let's be happy. The group of old ancestors laughed. Their figures were faintly discernible in the primal chaos. They were like a group of primal chaos true gods. Their laughter was pleasing to the ear, and each of them looked much younger. It's not old ancestor. There's something bad. Zhu Yangyun's heart couldn't take it anymore. He had to go over and tell them the truth. He hoped that the old ancestor could think of a way to remedy the situation. I know you. You're Zhu Yangyun. A female old ancestor laughed and said, Yangyun, you're quite good at picking the right time to tell us the bad news when we're in a good mood. Haha, but I'm in a good mood today. No matter what you've done, I can pardon you. Ha, what's the big deal? Why do you have to say it now? I don't think it's worth mentioning. Don't be a wet blanket. Hurry up and tell us the good news. The old ancestors were in high spirits. Zhu Yangyun was about to cry. If I tell you, can you pardon me? At the same time, the group of old ancestors looked at Su Yin. They realized that he was becoming more and more extraordinary. His aura was divine to the extreme. This was an extremely terrifying divine charm that endowed Su Yin with unparalleled power from the beginning of all things. It caused Su Yan's great Tao divine power to become much more terrifying. He was like a condensed universe that resonated with the heavenly sound of the great Tao. He was also like the founder of Taoism, his divine might overflowing into the heavens. Su Yin was bathed in divine light and turned into a strange stone of heaven and earth. He swallowed the spirit of the source of life and seized the creation of heaven and earth. He allowed the body-nurturing technique to be exchanged for vast vitality. It was as if he truly contained the essence of the universe from the ancient times. In short, Su Yan was changing. This was Su Yan's opportunity. The beginning of all things had enlightened the power of life and endowed the spirit of all things. It caused Su Yin to awaken once again at this stage. His divine might overflowed into the heavens. 9 heavens divine sovereign.